Hello, friends. What the fuck's going on? This episode of the Joe Rogan Experience podcast is brought to you by Squarespace. If you need a website and you want to go make one on your own, good fucking luck to you. That shit's difficult, son. You're going to have to get a program. You're going to have to learn it. Ooh, maybe you're smarter than me. Most likely, you're smarter than me. But for me, that shit's terrifying. But Squarespace makes even a dummy like me capable of producing a fine website, a real professional website with all sorts of different styles to choose from, and you can set up an online store really easily, like within minutes. Brian has done at least 20 websites while we've done these commercials. It's that easy. He just slaps one of these bitches together, throws up a template, and then boom, there's a website. It used to be really difficult. You used to have to hire somebody, you used to deal with some weird motherfucker who just probably is jerking off all day and not working on your website. He's probably like, it takes a long time, man. Meanwhile, it's just beating off furiously all day. That's all this asshole does. And you need him. You need him to fix things. And when you need people to fix things, guess what? They don't like doing it. So those days are done, my friend. Go to squarespace.com. Use the code Joe and the number 8, and you'll save 10% off your first purchase on new accounts, including monthly and annual plans. That's squarespace.com, and the code is Joe8. We're also brought to you by Stamps.com. Stamps.com is a great way for people who have a small business to send shit through the mail without having to go to the post office and get everything weighed out. And the way Stamps.com is set up, you can do it all on your computer with a printer. That's all you need. And you can get official U.S. postage for any envelope, any package, any class of mail. And you just do it all yourself. You weigh it. They give you a free scale. If you use the code word JRE, there's this bonus they give you. No risk trial, free digital scale, $55 of free postage, and you can try it. It's really easy. Weigh your packages. It prints everything up. You put it out. Post office takes it away. It can't get any simpler, and you don't have to go to the post office itself and annoy someone. You know nobody wants that fucking job of weighing your bullshit, all right? Weigh it yourself. No matter what you're selling, weigh it yourself, send it out, get your freak on, and use the code JRE and save yourself some money. That's a $110 special bonus offer at Stamps.com. Use the code word JRE and you click on the upper right-hand corner. There's like an old-timey microphone. Click on that, and it'll take you inside and show you all the secrets. That is Stamps.com. All right. We're also brought to you by Onnit.com. That's ONNIT. People have been asking me if the new Gorilla kettlebells are still in stock. I don't think they are. I'm not sure, but I know they were almost sold out. But I think that you can get them on back order. They're fucking badass. We can't print them quick enough. They're very exciting to own, so especially if you're a primate-obsessed idiot like myself. I'm very happy when I work out with Angry Monkey and Angry Gorilla kettlebells. It's the shit. And the Gorilla one's the new one. It just came out. 72 pounds.
It's in stock right now.
Is it in stock?
Yes.
Beautiful.
That's awesome.
Good. Excellent. They're difficult to keep around. They're fun. Somebody actually said to me, like, why do you make those? It's not practical. Bitch, life is not practical, okay? It's definitely not practical to pay extra to have a gorilla's face molded perfectly into a kettlebell. Duh.
I want one, and I don't even want to use one.
Yeah.
I just want to have one.
It's just a fun aspect of life, people, okay? Everything doesn't have to be practical. And when it does have to be practical, then it's that, okay? And that's okay, too. Both are okay. It's okay to have a big fucking angry gorilla face on your weightlifting equipment. You don't have to be all pragmatic. You have to be one of those fucking weird dudes that only works out in gray gym shorts either. You know, you could wear a pink shirt every now and then, bro. It's not going to kill you, okay? Go to Onnit.com. Check out all the strength and conditioning and fitness equipment that we have, including workout videos. But I'll say this, and I always say this, learn from someone who knows what they're doing. Please, before you embark on any sort of weight training program, get a trainer, scrape up the money, and videotape it if you can. Have the guy explain to you how to do things, and then pay attention to form. It's the most important thing. The worst thing that can ever happen is you take on some crazy exercise routine and you fucking hurt yourself. That shit sucks. It sucks being injured. And a lot of injuries you can avoid with due diligence. So please do that. As far as all the supplements that we sell at Onnit.com, if you use the code name Rogan, you will save 10% off any of them. So go, get your freak on, use the code name Rogan. Abby Martin's here. Why waste any time? Let's get busy. Let's rock and roll.
I want one
Seems
of those
cliche to
Gorilla
say.
kettlebells for my door. It looks like a door
exactly. It's an awesome doorstop. Cue the music, Brian.
I'm trying. There we go.
Is it failing?
Joe Rogan Podcast, check it out.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast.
What are
by
you
night.
doing?
I don't know.
All day.
Is that an accident?
That was an accident.
Whoops. It's all right, folks. You know what the fuck's happening. Yeah, it's confusing. Yeah, it's confusing to us, too. Abby Martin, thank you for coming.
Thank you for inviting me, man.
I did not know Abby Martin is an artist, and she gave me this fucking badass, dope picture that she's created.
It's very sexy.
This is very sexy.
It's very pornographic. Can I say pornographic? If I was like one of those radical minister type dudes, I would say it's pornographic.
Of course.
There's some, thank you. It's
You're
awesome.
welcome.
I didn't know that you were an artist.
Yeah.
You're
yeah.
a person of many talents.
Indeed. As are you. Touche.
Are you into porn?
Who isn't?
I mean, like, do you watch it
Wait
every
a minute,
day?
who isn't? I'm sure there's a lot of people.
That's true. I think a lot of people say that they don't watch it, but they're lying. But
Really?
No, I do watch porn.
I think there's an idea that people have with porn that those people are being exploited. That's the weird thing. Is that like you really shouldn't have videos of you fucking online like that. Like doing that for a living. The only people that are doing it are being exploited. But that it gets down to a really weird personal freedom issue because there's some people that actually want to do that. So who's to say? And it's a weird one because if people like watching it and people want to do it, like what's wrong with it? Like what exactly is wrong? What is really wrong if people want to have sex but nobody wants other people to watch? What is
Well,
that
it's like
really
sex
about?
workers, too.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, people do want to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's weird when you tell someone what they can and can't do. It's weird because then it gets to like, why can't you make a porn?
Mm-hmm.
Why can't you what is wrong with watching people fuck? Is it dangerous? Like what's going on? Are people getting harmed? Why how come everyone's watching it? How come billions and billions of people are watching it, but we're still pretending that somehow or another it's like a negative force? It seems like it's like an integrated part of our world.
Right. I think there's this misconception about women, being forced to do what they're doing and they're not enjoying themselves. But really, I don't think that's true. And also, I think a lot of porn watchers are women, a lot more than we'd think. Wow.
That's a strong statement.
I agree with her.
Yeah?
I totally agree.
Well, you're both freaks. You should be together. I think it's probably the majority of are men, but I think more women probably watch today than ever before.
Right.
It's a strange thing. The idea behind it is very strange that it's such a taboo subject for people that have,
We're living in a sexually
for sex.
repressed society.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh, for sure, yeah. And uniquely so. It's uniquely so because of all of our access to information. We're still like sort of riding on the ripples of the Puritans that first settled here. Like the ripples of their way of thinking has sort of still to this day influenced like a lot of the tone of the country. It's very strange.
Yeah, the entire entertainment industry just sells sex because they know that it's kind of this mystique for us because we have been so sexually repressed for so long. I mean, compared to other countries, I guess Europe, it's so fucking different. I mean,
Right.
I was watching Braveheart on TV and they blurred out people's asses when they're mooning the camera, but then they show people's heads being beat up against a rock. So it's like, why are we able to see someone's brain being smashed in, but we can't see an ass?
Yeah. It's very weird. It's weird how, you could have just incredible violence in a movie and that's fine. But it's the sex, we draw the line.
Right.
We draw a really distinct line. Do you remember there was a movie a while back I think it was called Brown Bunny? It was Vincent Gallo and him and Chloe Sevigny, you know that girl?
Mm-hmm.
Actually had a sex scene in the film. You can't play it because don't even try to play it, Brian, because it's actually sex. She actually gave him oral sex.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it was and people got mad at him. They were furious that they put that in the film. I remember reading this really angry review by this guy, and he was actually angry at Gallo for doing this and making him watch this scene.
This lewd act.
But it's a fucking weird thing where it's as a society, that is the line.
Right.
You do that behind
But
closed
it's fucking
doors.
reality.
Period.
Yeah, why?
Yeah. You make out in a movie. You can fake fuck.
Right.
But no real fucking.
The weirdest thing to me is the softcore porn, though.
Yeah.
That's fucking weird. How weird would it be to be a softcore porn actor?
I had a
Just
friend who did that.
Did
I had a friend who did that, and him and this girl were like naked in bed, and they're doing the scene together, and they're doing it for a while, and in the middle of it, she goes, "You can fuck me if you really want to," and he goes, "No, that's okay." So he's just.
the guy had to get paid way more if I'm
It
gonna
was.
go there.
I don't know what his motivation was. I suspect he didn't want his cock to be seen, but the the idea behind it. So it's a very weird thing. Well, we just like watching people have sex.
Yeah.
But it's taboo.
Right.
But yeah, it's $1 billion business.
Right.
But it's not really. It's like it seems like the business has been unfairly ignored as far as like the economic impact of the industry or on the internet on the industry. Because if you look at the economic impact of like on the music industry, it's really substantial. Illegal downloads, like really it became a huge issue, right? But with pornography, like no one talks about it. No one
I don't
cares.
understand who pays for porn now.
Exactly. Well,
really don't.
there's still websites where people make money, and there's so many people out there. All a guy has to do is get fixated on one girl, and she just sticks dildos inside of her all
Right.
week, and she's making bank. But the reality is, it's like the actual like buying of the DVDs was like a big thing for them, and all that went away. And now they get like pay-per-view from like hotels and stuff, but I'm sure that must be diminished by the internet as well, since there's so many other options.
I don't know.
But it's illegitimate. It's like treated as illegitimate. It's weird because it's clearly a gigantic economic force, like the need to beat off. Like it's gigantic, but yet it's ignored as far as like like if banks can fail, we have to prop them up. If General Motors is going under, we have to save them. We're saving jobs. But if porn starts to go under, everybody's like,
taxpayers bailing out the porn
But
industry.
it was so inflated. It was so inflated to begin with, really. Though.
The porn industry
yeah, I mean,
was?
people were getting paid ridiculous amounts of money for just like 10-minute sex scenes.
Right, but what's wrong with that? I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's what the market allowed. I mean, they were very valuable then. But the digital aspect of their creations, so the ones and zeros, it could be like replicated for as long as they want. That's where things get weird. Because once you have that, it's like, oh, well, I don't have to make a copy of it. So it's not like an actual DVD. Like you could just download it and you can get it in seconds. That must have just crippled the business. Because you used to have to go buy a physical DVD. And if you wanted porn, that's how you got your porn. That was like for the longest time. There was a store that I used to go to in Santa Monica. It was this video store. It was like half porn. It was like they had a couple fucking like Braveheart or some shit. Like, yeah, here's Mad Max, stupid. But most of it was porn. This was like in the early 90s. And it'd just be a bunch of dudes walking around there, shifty, not breathing too heavy, trying to get out of there as quick as they could. And then the rest of it was like a fucking ghost town. Because nobody wants to go to the one video store that's mostly porn.
Right. Well, the best is when they have the rooms there. It's like, do you really go to a porn store and to jerk off in a room?
For some people,
Yes.
they have nowhere else to
The
go.
answer is yes.
For some people, they have nowhere else to go.
Right.
Also, for some people, they get their freak on and doing something that's forbidden in some weird, seedy way. Like, there's something about going to a peep booth that just excites people. I had a friend who used to smoke crack and go to a peep booth. That was his thing. He lived in New York. He was a pool hustler. And one of his fun things to do would be to smoke crack and go to peep booths.
So what is a peep booth like? You just get like a glimpse of someone dancing, or what?
It's either one of two things, I guess. Some of them are like videos. You can go and you can watch videos, and they would like watch videos and beat off. And then the other ones are like actual people. Like people would be like behind glass. And, you would talk to them. Like you walk in and they're sitting down behind like a plexiglass thing, and then they do things for you.
Me and Eddie F went to that one place in San Francisco. And that's where it was my first time where I touched the walls and it was wet.
Oh, Jesus, son.
Yeah. Fuck that shit.
Yeah,
it's dark in there too. You can't even see the walls.
Yeah, they got beads and shit that you have to walk through. It's fucking weird. The whole idea is weird.
You're allowed to masturbate there though. They're telling you that, right?
They can't really say that. That's what happens. It's like one of those things where they know you're going to beat off, but they can't say, "Hey, come on in and beat off." Because then it becomes like a public health issue, I think. Like people just shooting fluids all over the place.
Pretty disgusting.
Yeah, it's like, and not only that, they don't want to let you know that you can do that. Just to keep whatever, like to keep people from taking it to the next level. Because if you tell people that they can do it, then people, they're like, well, how come I can't sell it? Like they get, you know what I mean? Like nobody's like happy with the status quo. They always want to continue to push it. So if you tell people they can beat off in there, they're just probably going to be butt fucking each other, and they're probably going to go crazy. They're going to want to have sex there. And then we tell them that's okay, then they're going to want to kill people.
The decline in porn at least has raised the quality of the prostitute, though. So we should just, think about that for a second.
Well, that's another weird thing. I read an article where a girl who was it's a very smart article about a girl who used to be a porn star and then became a prostitute. And she was saying that there's not much difference between being on the set and being in a brothel. That it's just like there's no cameras. Where you're just having sex, and sometimes you don't want to have sex with that person. You just do it because that's your job. And I was like, wow, it's weird that we like that's a real issue. Like you tell someone that someone's a prostitute, and that person's like, oh my goodness.
You go to there's that
I just don't
website
understand why it's illegal. I mean.
Yeah, that luxury companion website. Have you ever heard of that?
No, what's that?
It's this high quality prostitute website. But the sad thing is, if you go through it, it's all porn stars. Like you're all like, man, I could actually have sex with her.
That's crazy. Well, that's a sweet deal if you're a fan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's not like you could for $10,000 or $20,000 could go play basketball with Michael Jordan.
Right.
He's like, bitch, I'm busy. But if you're a fan of one of those
Yeah,
gals,
just name your price.
Finger
you
the
can actually have
Octomom.
sex with them.
Yeah.
That's got to be really weird to be a dude who's like super obsessed. And for the girl, wow, what a crazy chance. It's one thing to meet strangers, but to meet strangers who are sexually obsessed with you and get to have sex with you for money, like, woo, that's a strange energy exchange right there. That's some high level shit.
Guys should do that too. Like why aren't we
Like John
doing? Why
Mayer.
aren't we doing it? We're like the shy ones. Like, oh no.
Men, yeah. Well, it's looked down upon in both sides. As soon as money's involved, it's like money and sex for some reason do not. Anytime it's connected, whether it's a gigolo or whether it's a girl prostitute, it's like terrible. It's awful. Like you're connecting money and sex. Money and everything else is cool.
Exactly.
Money and
Even though
competition.
we use sex to sell everything.
Yeah.
Right? Did you guys hear
we're
about that
so
dude
weird.
who killed a prostitute and used the self-defense thing, and he got off because
Oh
he
my
said that
God.
she stole money from him and she didn't actually fuck him.
Oh,
So then he was able to get off on self-defense in some weird fucked up law in a
Where
state
was this?
saying it was like one of those stand your ground things, except he
Oh,
was like, you
no.
stole my money and didn't deliver the goods, so I can kill you.
oh my God.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. What state is
I
this?
want to say Texas, but I don't.
What's the story? How long ago was this story?
Just say dude kills prostitute.
Oh my God! You
Gets
know how many
off.
articles are gonna get? That's probably more hits on Google than baseball bat in the ass. Guy kills prostitute or baseball bat in the ass.
Gets off. Yeah,
I went
say-
to look once, just as because I didn't believe it was true. Someone told me that there was a video of a young girl with a baseball bat in her rump,
And you searched
and
high and low.
I went for the Google. But when you go for the Google search, the numbers are insane. I'm gonna do it. Let's see what the recent one is. Baseball bat in ass.
Dana Diarmond.
Our friend Dana, she's a sweetie. Let's see how many hits. Okay, you ready for this?
Yeah.
5,900,000 results.
Oh, jeez.
Wow. I can't
Whoa.
even comprehend that.
What
Oh,
a
do not
fucking
choose
strange.
images because the first photo that
stop.
comes
Oh, no.
up is the worst, grossest image I've seen.
Oh, dude, Jesus Christ.
What the
What the fuck
fuck?
is that?
What is that?
Someone being rude.
Is that
Someone
real?
being rude. I don't know. Let's say it's not. Let's hope it's not. Yikes. Yeah. Whoops.
And then it's like Todd
How did we get
Bridges.
stuck on this, Abby? It's your fault or something.
Immediately looking up baseball bats in the ass.
Yeah. I
Oh,
don't know.
it's because of her painting. We started talking about porn.
Oh yeah,
Right,
that's
right.
right. It's your fault.
It is
But look
You
how
came
good
in.
women used to look. That was the
are you
Playboy.
talking
That was
about?
a Playboy from the 70s and
I
60s.
think women look pretty good today too.
That's
No?
true. I just like
Everybody's good.
the natural boobs,
Yeah.
more voluptuous.
I think they're going to have within our lifetimes a different workaround for that, and it'll be a biological workaround. They'll have something where you can actually grow a breast. Your breast will grow larger. I really think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be all sorts of weird genetic changes over the next few decades. The stuff that they're working on right now. I talked to Ray Kurzweil. He told me that they're working on artificial blood cells that allow you to hold your breath underwater for 4 hours.
Sweet.
You could just hop in a tank of water, and go. And because of these artificial blood cells are so efficient, that you would have enough oxygen where you'd hold your breath for 4 hours. That's like, he thinks within our lifetime.
That's awesome.
It's mind-blowing.
Fucking yeah. Yeah, so I think like boobs is going to be an easy one.
Yeah.
That's going to be easy. They're just going to give you the boob bug. You know, it's like a version of the flu. You get sick and your tits grow like monsters. That's what's going to happen. They're probably going to be no ugly people in 100 years. Everyone's going to be super engineered, genetic-looking Dr. Manhattan men, and every woman's going to be like the perfect sex pot. They're gonna have that down. There's going to be no like, why would you have bad teeth when you could just brush? Right. You know, it's going to be like that simple.
Right.
Like, did you go to the gene place?
Yeah.
Like, what do you want to like trust random chance and what your body's like? What are you, fucking crazy? You want to trust random chance on one of the most important things as far as like social currency. We all agree that like beautiful people have like this amazing power. They have an amazing power to get people's attention. They have like, you meet a big, tall, handsome man with a perfect face, and you just go, wow, he's here.
Right.
You know, it's totally natural. It's a complete natural thing for human beings to do. But it's fucking weird. It's a lottery.
And how much would that fuck up with the social order, though, if everyone
it's
looked
gonna
good?
throw it into the toilet. It's gonna be a goddamn mess. We're gonna not. It's like how people are lazy because we don't have to go chase quail
Right.
to eat. We just go to fucking Jack in the Box and get a chicken sandwich. It's fucking easy. It takes 3 minutes and it's already cooked. You know, you give them some paper and you're done with it. But I think that it's going to be much along the same lines. Like, we're lazy in that it doesn't take much to get us fed. So most people just sort of skate by in life. There's no like real desperation or fear of not feeding in this country, at least. You know, for some people it's a struggle, but one day it's going to get to the point where that's the way it is with everything. That's the way it is with your looks. You're going to be able to just look like whatever you want. There's going to be people that don't even look like people. Like people are definitely going to want to look like dinosaurs. Like people that are like furries and shit like that. If they could like genetically alter humans to be like a dinosaur type person and change your body,
yeah, people already
and then you
do
have
that
to
now.
eat goats and shit, kill them with your face, people would sign up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
No doubt, right?
There'd probably be a huge counterculture of just dinosaur motherfuckers.
Yes,
dude. But I always
There
thought it would
would
be so
be.
interesting, like 1,000 years from now, if we died off and then people in the future came back and dissected our skeletons and found remnants of like silicon, and they're like, what the fuck were people just like inserting silicon packets in their body and ab implants? You know that exists now? I can't imagine.
I have one of those. Six pack. Can
you imagine just getting like a shield just underneath your skin because you're like, I don't want to fucking try to do crunches.
Well, I think it's a surgery. Might be wrong, but I think what the ab thing is they sort of like suture it in to create permanent 6-pack indentations.
So it's like just like
I'm talking shit.
So
I watched a
fucking
special on it, but I was barely paying attention because I was like, "Do some crunches, you lazy bitch!" And I changed the channel. I was like, "That's so ridiculous. You're gonna get fake abs,
right?"
Dudes get fake calves.
Calf implants, yeah.
Yeah. If you have skinny calves, I guess
because
it's a
that's
bummer.
one thing I look at a man, I'm like, dude, he doesn't have big enough calves.
Well, what happens, I think, with the bodybuilder type gentleman is the same thing that happens to anorexics. I think it's been pretty much proven is that they have a distorted opinion of how they look. Like some of those big bodybuilder dudes, they won't expose their body. They cover it up. They have like blankets and shit they wear everywhere, and they wear like 4 or 5 sweaters. Like it's weird. Like they don't show their body. They feel small, and they wear a lot of layers sometimes. And some of these guys are fucking mountains, like human mountains, but they're wearing like 2 sweatshirts and a t-shirt over that. And you know, it's almost like they want to like, they get crazy. Some of them can get, and it's not all of them, obviously, but you can get crazy. And so they look at their calves and they're like, fuck this. I'm fucking sick of having little calves. And then just stuff some shoehorns in there, pop them bitches out. I mean, I don't know who the first guy was who went for it. It's like, I'm fucking tired of my fucking bullshit calves.
It was like, I saw some like MTV special on it like 10 years ago. This little like fucking squirrely kid on the beach. And then afterward, he's like, everyone's looking at my calves. It's like, yeah, because they look fucking huge compared to the rest of your body. Why are they so big?
Have you seen this? This donutting. People are getting donuts put in their head.
I have seen that. It's saline. What it is,
but that goes away, doesn't it? It's like a
it goes
day
away.
Or some shit.
That's why they do it. It's
Barf.
they pump. They actually inject saline into their forehead, and then they like put like a little indentation in it with their finger. It sticks.
Hot.
People are so strange.
People are fucked. Did you hear about that? It was some woman who was this beautiful model in Korea, and then she just injected like her face with a bunch of olive oil and shit.
Yeah.
They would not give her any more plastic surgery, and now she looks insane.
Yeah, it was cooking oil.
It's
She was
awful.
injecting cooking oil into her face. Poor girl.
I know.
The human mind
sad.
is so fucking complex.
So fucked.
It's so strange because it seems like most of your life is almost like a balancing act. It's a balancing act of happiness and friendships and laughter and accomplishments and not losing your mind along the way. But for a lot of folks, somewhere in that dance, it's just too much, and they just go towards lose your mind at full steam ahead, and then they're sticking needles and cooking oil in their face. Or we've all seen the one actress that will not stop fucking with her face until they become almost hideous or pitiful. You know, when you look at them, you have pity. You're like, oh no, what did she do? This thing to her face. It's a very strange aspect of the human being, is that every now and then you take what looks like a totally normal person who's keeping it together for a long time, and then one day off to crazy town. Just fucking can't keep it together anymore. I give up. I'm just fucking running.
And it's so fucking obvious too when they overdo the plastic surgery because everyone just looks exactly alike. It's fucking creepy.
Well, it's you know what it is? You get delusional and you think it's gonna fix. I had hair transplants. And I had my first one I think when I was 26. I had 3 of them.
Why? Why so young? Just
because my hair was falling out. I was fucking freaking out. I was freaking out when my hair was falling out because I was on TV too, and I was making a living as an actor at the time on news radio, and I was like, oh my god, my fucking hair is falling out. I had known it was falling out for a while. I saved it though with the minoxidil, and the minoxidil was hanging in there. But after a while, it was still falling out, and I was like, God, I got to do something about it. I should have never done anything. I should have shaved my head from the beginning. And so whenever kids ask me online, dudes ask me, I'm fucking freaking out, I'm only 18, I'm losing my hair. Shave it, bitch. Just deal with that. Just accept the fact you don't have any hair.
Did the hair plugs look bad?
It didn't look good.
Yeah.
I never looked at my hair and went, yeah. It was always oh, I guess I got hair up there now, whatever. But, the way they do it is a single thing. It's not like the old way of doing it. But they take a big strip of hair. So I have this big scar on the back of my head, like a smile, for the rest of my life. But I'd rather have that. First of all, it's a good public service announcement. If you're thinking about doing this, just look at my head. Don't do it. Just shave your head. And then the other thing is that it's almost like what you're doing it's a screwball thing. It seems like it might work a little, but then as you start doing it, you go, why, wait, but isn't there options? Isn't there another option? And the other option is just let it be what the fuck it is and stop freaking out. That's the other option. There's always the best option. Rather than getting knocked unconscious and they take a chunk of meat out of the back of your head and drill fucking holes in there and implant those. It's nuts. Jason, what's his name?
Jason Alexander, I think. Yeah, he wanted to go back in time just 10 years, so it kind of looks like he was about to go bald.
See, why would
just to make it more realistic?
Wow.
Yeah, he got a super cool hairpiece, I guess.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird because if a chick wears a wig, it's no biggie, when Madonna would wear wigs or when Lady Gaga would wear some crazy wigs, nobody tripped. But if a dude's wearing a wig, there's something. What is that real?
He went a little too far.
Is that real?
He went too far.
That's beautiful if it's real.
That's amazing.
I would love it if he did that.
Wizard.
If he gave up on dyeing his hair, imagine if he was all white like that for real. So he gives up on dyeing his hair, and then he just has a crazy white hairpiece.
He just goes for it.
I
would actually really
sorcerer.
Love that. Totally respect that.
Like a sorcerer.
Michael Bolton.
Yeah, hey, whatever, man. That's what the dude wants to look like. But for me, I can tell you that it was a big mistake on my part, and it was one that I made in getting hair transplants out of insecurity because I was young. And I was, thinking oh, I'm not going to have a career. I'm going to be a bald loser. That's what I was thinking.
That's what society drills into us.
Yeah, and if you want to have a solution to something, you go research it. And at the time, there's very little internet too, so it wasn't as easy to research things. But you find a doctor who does it, and you talk to them, and they show you photos, and you're like, oh, this is gonna work. Oh, whew. Boy, I'm gonna fix my hair. And then the next thing you know, you're like, what am I doing? This stupid And I guarantee you, probably most women that wind up doing something wrong, whether it's a lip thing or a nose thing, where they're like, oh Christ, and they look at it in the mirror and they're like, what the fuck did I just do? and then you could try to fix it. Like I've heard of girls that have had girls. I don't know where that came from. Girls that have had too many nose jobs and they have to get like cartilage removed from the rib, and then they recreate the nose. Yeah, I talked to this guy that told me about this operation that they had to do. She was in her 20s too. She'd had too many nose jobs already, and she'd ruin her nose. And her nose was
Michael
like
Jackson, dude. I mean, I know he's a
yeah. This girl had like a
rare case.
Well, her nose apparently like started to like go in after the bone, and like it's kind of sunk in because there wasn't any cartilage there to support the rest of the nose. Whoo! Yeah, it's weird, man. It's weird. Some people just have bigger noses, and they just got to deal with that. It's alrighty. It's gonna be okay. You know.
I saw Michael Jackson impersonator on Hollywood and Vine last night with like a little kid in a candy shop. I was like, this is a ridiculous moment in time. Like,
oh no,
whose kid is this? Like, it's so creepy. I also got robbed.
You got robbed?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh.
What happened?
I got like bum rushed by a crowd, and then they just must have lifted my wallet right out of my purse.
No
by.
way.
Yeah, it was crazy.
So they just ran into you and like bumped into your bag, and you didn't notice it?
Yeah. And I was like, how the fuck am I gonna fly? Apparently, you don't need an ID to fly. You just need to go. They were like, we need to put you through like 20 security tests. So come to the airport 2 hours early. I was like, God damn it.
They're going to molest you.
Yeah.
Have you ever had that happen before where you get like roughly frisked?
No, but I have gotten yelled at by a TSA agent because I didn't want to go through the body scanner. And he was like, what are you, a celebrity? He's like, only celebrities don't want to go through the body scanner. And I was like, why are you? I was like, this is crazy that you're talking to me like this. Like, what the fuck? This is nuts.
Yeah, it's an option, isn't it?
Yeah. He was just like totally demeaning me, like in front of everyone.
Why celebrities? Why would celebrities not want to go through it? The new one's like a radio one.
It's like, yeah, why would you want to get molested? I mean,
well, I've never had it happen to me. Everyone has always been pleasant with me. But Graham Hancock, who's been on the podcast several times, who's a good friend, he went through one, and he said this dude like just was aggressively sexual with him, like grabbing his body, like it felt like he was being molested. Like, I shouldn't say aggressively sexual, but he grabbed his cock and the whole thing. I mean, like he said, it felt like he was getting raped. Like, obviously not as extreme, but you know, it's like a form of a violation, and he was really shocked by it. And he wrote about it. He was shocked enough that he didn't just let it go. He sat down and wrote some stuff about it.
Well, there was just this report that came out that said that there's so many more cases of malfeasance and misconduct in the TSA than any other government. I mean, this is like 20 times more. And so there was this investigation done to find out, well, why is there so much fucking like crimes happening, like robbery, sexual abuse and stuff. And it was, and basically this representative figured out that they don't really do background checks.
Oh my God.
And they're just kind of skipping through this huge, you know, you think that you would, so basically they're hiring pedophiles and child molesters is what they found out.
What?
Yeah.
No way.
Yes.
Well, nice people too. We should say that.
Sure.
I've met a lot of really nice people at the TSA, and people, you fucking government chill. Relax. No, I'm just saying. I'm just trying to, in the interest of fairness. I know some of them are just folks that needed a job, and that's the reality of the situation.
Graham Hancock got molested.
He did a little bit. Well, you know, it's a thing where I think that it can be pretty well argued that there needs to be some form of security. But it's also a thing that is much like many other public service jobs, is that it should be really respected, and it should be something you're paid well for, and it should be a difficult job to acquire. And I think it's a matter of priorities, and if we shifted those priorities, that we could make a sizable change in the way the whole thing is run. If you made it so that people were, first of all, made it so that those jobs are a little bit more difficult to come by, and that the people that do it get background checks, and it's a really good job to get with excellent benefits, so they don't feel left out or fucked or disenfranchised.
Right.
It's something that's worth, and then it's also worth adhering to a certain code of conduct because it's a really good job. You know, I think when you have a job that's, you know, what the fuck are they getting per hour?
They're probably just getting paid like fucking minimum wage. I think
or
the
a little
TSA
more.
should be abolished. I think it's a useless agency.
Well, how do you think that you should do security?
Like we did before 9/11.
How did we do
TSA was totally created in the wake of 9/11. It's a totally new government agency, just like the Department of Homeland Security. And just, I mean, think about it. The hijackers brought on, knives? Like, you can still bring those in. This guy, Jonathan Corbett, basically exposed the fact that you can just create an in-sewn pocket and bring in whatever the fuck you want through these body scanners. So they really have like a huge security breach. So, but when you go back to why the body scanners were implemented, like an in-sewn pocket that's like silver or something.
Oh, so it has to be a type of material?
Yeah.
Oh,
and you can
wow.
carry anything through.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But I mean, the reason that the body scanners were implemented in the first place is because Michael Chertoff was tied up with Rapist Scan, which is also the name of the body scanner, right? Rapist Scan.
Is it really?
Rapist Scan, but I call
Oh
it
my
Rapist
God.
Scan.
Can you imagine if that really was the name? And then they brought it and the government was like, really? And like, yep, that's what
Do
we
we
named
have
it.
to name it?
Well, listen, I got a patent. It's the Rapist Scan. I got a patent. I'm not changing the fucking name. The guy's just adamant. Some crazy multi-millionaire guy who just was nuts.
So yeah, this guy was running the DHS, and he was tied up with the lobbying firm and profiting off these body scanners, and so they just put him in all the airports, and they don't even really work. Even Israel, the Israeli government was like, we're not going to use those because they don't work. Like, they're not going to stop terrorism. So they're totally pointless. It's just like a money-making scam.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, but here's the question. Before 9/11, they did something, right? You went through radar detectors.
You went through just the regular metal detectors.
Right. And they x-rayed your luggage? No.
I don't know.
I think they did.
Yeah.
I feel like they did. Didn't
like
they?
Yeah.
did.
Seems like they did. But
Yeah, they did.
so between then and now, it's just gotten more complicated? Is that what the idea is?
Well, they just, they want to dehumanize us as much as possible to make flying the worst fucking thing in the world. So now you have to take off your shoes. The liquid thing is completely absurd. That was based on something that was it wasn't fake, but it was like these mentally unstable people who were trying to mix liquid explosives that wasn't even going to work. It was like totally pointless. They weren't even able to do it. So then they just punish everyone by making everyone put little liquids in bags, and it's just ridiculous.
Maybe they found like a proof of concept after that like, yeah, somebody could go on
Someone
with a
could do it,
shampoo
right.
bottle full with C4 that looks like conditioner.
And now you can't bring snow globes on.
Snow globes?
I just saw that in a little snow
Those little
globe with an
things that you
X. Yeah.
shake like a
Yeah.
paperweight?
Was there a snow globe terrorist that I missed? Like someone trying to...
Listen, if someone was
Someone was
coming at
snow
me and they were trying to get crazy, I could fuck you up with a snow globe. So imagine a pitcher,
Yeah.
like a really good baseball pitcher and a snow
Just-
globe. Oh my God, you're a dead man. It's going to kill you with that thing. It could be used as a weapon.
But now the TSA's actually taking it so fucking far, man. I just saw this video where this woman comes back from her trip, she gets her car, and there's a little note in her car that says, TSA inspected your car while you were gone.
Yeah, I
And she
saw
was
that
like,
too.
"What?"
Apparently, it's a local jurisdiction thing. They can the local. It's not a TSA thing. It's a local security for the parking lot. And the
Really?
TSA, yeah, in various districts, I think, has very different ways of approaching these type of situations. But if they choose to, for some reason, I think it was like a valet car. She valeted her car, and for whatever reason, they chose to search it. But I don't
There's
think.
just like no warning.
I think what they're
behind-
saying is it's not a TSA policy. I think that was the response to it, that it wasn't TSA policy, that it was a local thing that someone did. So that's not something they plan on doing. But it could have been something they were like testing the waters, and then people freak out,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then they're like, oh, we
Right.
ain't even doing that.
After the woman complained, they were like, no, we have a sign up. And
Yeah.
she's like, that sign wasn't here before. It's like, we're
Oh,
going to
really?
inspect your car. Yeah. And she was
Oh,
like,
did
that
she say
totally
that?
didn't exist. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, I want to know who to believe there. That gets weird.
Right.
I wish I knew. Yeah.
But still, even if there is a sign, if you're not told, hey, we're going to
Yeah.
search your car, I mean,
You got to be
that's-
real
that's
specific
insane.
about
Yeah.
that. Can't just have a sign. Oh, I might
the
look through your
background.
shit.
Yeah. You're like, oh, you didn't read everything in this entire office before you gave the valet dude your keys?
Yeah, I might steal your change. Sorry. I left a sign.
But the TSA is just so. I mean, it's grown so much. It's such a waste of money. I just think. I mean, what have we done really with the TSA?
Well, the argument I would say, I don't disagree with you, but the argument I would say if I was, doing the counterpoint was like, think of how many lives we've saved. Think of how many terrorist attacks were stopped. Think how many people did not try things because they thought they would never get through the infinite matrix that is the TSA.
That's
the
all
line of
hypotheticals. Is there any proof? that
You're
we've
right.
stopped anything?
You're right. It is hypotheticals. But at a certain point in time, is it hypothetical that if you didn't have vitamin C, you would get scurvy? You see where I'm going with this? I'm not going anywhere, folks. Relax. I don't believe a word I'm saying. I hear you. I know what you're saying. But I think that there should probably be some form of security just with the reality of the world that we live in. I don't fucking trust people that much. I don't trust people I just feel like if there was no security at all,
No,
I would
let's
have
go
to like
back
have a
what it
lot more
was.
faith in our society.
Let's go back to what it was before. It was totally fine.
What is it before though? Do you know the
It was just,
specifics?
I don't know if it was like, it wasn't a private contractor. I mean, I think it was government agents, but it was just very, it wasn't like a huge multi-billion-dollar wasteful agency that was just like.
Is it just one of those things where, and I'm obviously not a politician, nor do I really even understand politics, but is it one of those things where when jobs get created and a business gets created, it behooves them to enhance that business and spread that business and make that business larger, whether that business is Chick-fil-A or that business is the TSA. Once it's an actual business, so it's not a government agency. Oh, it's a business. It's a private business. That's where things are always going to get weird, because as soon as you can profit, and like it's not just the state profits, no. Individuals profit, and they have motivation, and then they also can have things called lobbyists, and they can spend a shitload of money to try to get laws pushed by that make their business more profitable and make more. What? That's crazy. Yeah. That's where it gets crazy.
Well, you can't differentiate anymore between the corporatists and the actual government employees, so it's hard to tell.
It's like it sounds like you're calling for socialism now.
You fucking commie.
That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing a bunch of fucking anti-capitalist nonsense. Why, if it wasn't for capitalism, which is so true, if it wasn't for capitalism, we wouldn't have shit. You know, communism doesn't work. You can't get people to work unless you give them a reward. If you want cool shit, you want a Samsung phone, you want to be able to watch TV on a big screen that's flat, someone's going to make that, okay? You're not going to do it, and capitalism is the only way that shit gets done. If the whole world is communist and socialist, that stuff doesn't probably get made.
Why are those our only two options, though, is my question, because I think there's a lot of flaws in capitalism, too.
You're so right. What we need, I think, is some sort of moralism. Capitalism, not capitalism, not communism, but moralism, ethicalism. Something where it's just like, can't we figure this out? It seems like this can all be worked out. Like, we don't have to like live like one person has to die so that all may live. Like, it's 2013 already, people.
That's what kills me. Like, I see the potential that we have, and we're just fucking squandering it.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck? We know that we can have clean energy. We know that we can have this. We know that we can live compatibly and harmoniously, like, with the earth, but we're just fucking raping, pillaging shit. I mean, I think it's a flaw in capitalism to see what happens. Monopolies form, and then it buys out governments. And
is it a flaw, though? Or is it almost like a built-in mechanism designed to encourage movement? It's almost like the way that things really get done. But you need some incredibly greedy fucks.
If this is the trend that's designed within capitalism, then isn't that fucked?
Yes, it's definitely fucked. But the question is it this way because this is the most efficient way to move this thing forward? This is the most efficient way to continue to produce new technological innovations, to continue to push our ability to access information, whether it's like willingly given up through the internet or whether they're watching your cell phones. Like that, all of it is kind of connected.
Well, it's interesting because we hear a lot, you need reward, you need value, you need people competing, and that otherwise you won't have innovation, you won't have these new technologies. But I look at it, we had innovations 20 years ago that cars could run on water, but the car industry bought out and this patent. And you see this across the board. So we actually see technologies being stifled because of the capitalist model that we live in, this vulture capitalism where they're monopolizing all these industries and preventing technology from arising.
So that water car thing is totally true.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I had heard about that.
And the electric car. Remember who killed the electric car?
Yes. I heard about the water thing on Opie and Anthony. They were talking about how the guy who created it died of a heart attack, and he had a meeting with two men, and he ran out of the restaurant screaming, "They poisoned me," and then died of a heart attack. Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah. See if you guys can find that story, because Opie and Anthony were talking about it. It sounded like a fucking scene in a movie. Like the guy yelled, "They poisoned me," and ran out and had either a heart attack or a stroke. I can't remember. My memory's shit. But it's my memory's actually excellent for a human, but there's just too much to remember.
Yeah, that's true. But no, I think that we can reinvent the wheel here. I think that we can advance humanity and our collective consciousness to a point where we can figure out a different way instead of reverting back to these old paradigms of communism or capitalism in the way that we know. I mean, can't we recreate something? We know what exists. We have the ability to intercommunicate within the entire planet. The technology's growing exponentially. I just think that we can do better than what we've seen.
I think you're totally right. I think we need to learn, as human beings, we need to learn how to manage our humanity And there's a lot of things that we're going to have to take into consideration when you start talking about that kind of stuff. And one of them is that people have a desire for competition. They just do. They always have. And that has to be quelled in some form, whether you should take up a game that you enjoy or get involved in sports or in martial arts are a good example, or some form of discipline that allows you to like blow off energy and blow off this competitive design that you have inside of you that sort of has allowed human beings to get to this point in the first place. I mean, we didn't survive for tens of thousands of years because we weren't intent on survival at all costs, and one of the costs is competition. It's a part of what's made us a human being. It's a part of why we're here. And I think that when people get involved in anything, whether it's a corporate thing or whether it's a competition in a game or a team, there's this desire to do better than those you're competing against. Like, if you talk to people that are business people, and they'll talk about their competitors, we're fucking kicking it right down their throat. They're like very aggressive about shit. When you get guys alone, they start talking about how well they're doing against the competition. Yeah, they close down 3 of their stores, and like they start getting like real excited about conquering shit. And it's that mimicked, that this genetic thing, I think, that's like almost been incorporated into our DNA because it's been so responsible for getting people to this point. Like, you have to crack eggs in order to make an omelet. There had to be a bunch of crazy shit to get us to rise from apes with sticks to driving a car, and to do it all so fast. There had to be a lot of chaos involved in doing that. But we should be able to recognize that now and go, whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, everybody catch your breath. It took us a long fucking time to get here, but let's look at why we got here. This is what motivated us. You see all this? We just wanted to breed, wanted to make sure we have children, make sure that we stop the barbarian hordes from coming over from the next town over. If we can just all agree to not be fuckheads, none of that's going to happen. We can all talk now. Okay, this isn't like you speak German and I don't understand Dutch and he's Chinese. No. Everybody pretty much knows what the fuck everybody else is saying. So everybody just chill. Can we agree to chill? Okay, let's chill. Now let's figure out this fucking resource thing. There's a natural resource thing that it seems like is all of ours, okay? Why do other people get to keep that? And how come the people that get to keep that keep wanting to go to war and control shit? Let's, I know it sounds a little radical, but maybe you guys are kind of being cunts by controlling all the oil. Isn't it the Earth's? Aren't you sucking it out of holes in the ground? Like, what?
It's fucking fascinating that we're just wasting all of this magical resource that takes billions of years to compound in the earth, and we're just blowing it. We're just fucking blowing
But it makes for awesome cars.
It does, but we need to
sound good.
save it for...
Yeah, it's a stupid thing. I've said before that I think what they're going to do is eventually come up with some sort of a bacteria that eats carbon dioxide in the air, and they're going to release it like a moth, like a colony of moths in the air. It's going to chew through all the pollution. But then it's going to mutate.
The chemtrails?
Yeah, but then it's going to mutate. Don't bring up chemtrails, please. Please don't bring up chemtrails. Chemtrail believers, I love you. I feel you. I probably could have been one of you.
Right.
Okay, but I read a couple of articles along the way. Just I'm not a fucking geoengineer, and I'm not a New World Order person either. All right, I'm not the Illuminati. Stop.
Well, I just haven't met one. I haven't seen one pilot who's. I mean, if they were spraying chemicals on us and the government was doing this around the world every day, don't you think that some pilot would have come out and said like,
I don't know.
Yo.
Who knows?
Why would he spray his own family? And like,
It's
a very non-specific way to poison the world.
we're already getting enough poison. I don't.
But it has been done. The thing about
Right.
dropping stuff from planes has been done. And in fact, there was a recent article that was just published about these tests that they did. I want to say I should look it up, but it was they were spraying radioactive waste from planes.
Yeah, they've
to
done
monitor.
a bunch of crazy shit.
Yeah, I mean,
geoengineering experiments and then cloud seeding, and so there is like geoengineering happening in the works, but it's not to the extent of what people.
Yeah, I mean,
think.
look, and it's always they.
Right,
And I was just about to say, they gave the Tuskegee experiment.
Right.
They gave those guys syphilis or allowed them to have syphilis and not treat them. This is all like that they thing is a real problem because they're not all part of the same group. It's people that are cunts. That's what it is. It's assholes that have done something wrong. And if they're in a position of government, it's always they. It's like they have done this.
Yeah, someone just asked me last night. They said, do do you believe in the New World Order, the Illuminati and stuff? And I said, well, I think that it's giving them too much credit. It's also taking away people's agency to be like, there's this, unknowable group controlling everything behind the shadows. It's like, no, we know who these motherfuckers are. They're hidden in plain sight. It's the board of directors of all the most powerful corporations in the world. I mean, these are the people who are running shit.
This is a fact, okay, that in the 1950s, and this is off Yahoo News. This is widely reported throughout the internet, which means everything.
Throughout the internet.
I don't know what's true. I don't know what's true. I'm not a researcher.
Can I have it?
Yeah, we got one there.
Oh,
there
wow.
Bam, we're
The
like
fuck? How did that
genies here.
happen?
James is a genie.
Jeez.
This woman says that she lost her baby when her father died. She was a baby, rather, when her father died inexplicably in 1955, and she watched 4 siblings die of cancer, and she survived cervical cancer upon learning that the Army conducted secret chemical tests in her impoverished St. Louis neighborhood. In the height of the Cold War, she wonders if her own government's to blame. In the mid-1950s, and again a decade later, the Army used motorized blowers atop low-income housing and high-rise at schools and from the backs of station wagons to send a potentially dangerous compound into the already hazy air in predominantly black areas of St. Louis. Local officials were told at the time that the government was testing a smoke screen that could shield St. Louis from aerial observation in case the Russians attack.
Wow.
But in 1994, the government said that the tests were a part of a biological weapons program, and St. Louis was chosen because it bore some resemblance to Russian cities that the U.S. might attack.
Holy shit.
The materials being sprayed was zinc, cadmium, sulfide, a fine fluorescent powder. Oh, my God. That's horrible.
That's horrifying.
That's so scary.
There's just no accountability for any of this shit that's happened. I'm sure these people got like a very little payout, but they've just watched all their family die.
But it's so scary.
It's terrible.
And,
what about Monsanto?
And here's the thing for the chemtrail folks.
Yeah.
This is real. This is real. And when you're looking at a lot of things that may or may not be what you think they are, it's really important to find out what is real, right? It's really important. And if you're not sure if something is just a jet engine creating an artificial cloud because it's passing through condensation, or if it's the government spraying you, if you call one or the other, it becomes a problem for all of the information.
Absolutely. It dilutes the real argument, which is the fact that there's
That shit like
thousands of
this.
tons of, or even just the jet fuel of just
Yeah.
planes in general.
The jet fuel thing is crazy, and that's something that we figured out on the show is that 93,000 flights a day fly worldwide. 93,000.
That's insane.
It's incredible. And there was a study done after 9/11, which is really fascinating. And it's kind of funny because it was in CNN. This is long before the chemtrail thing either. It's a CNN article from 2002, and it was talking about how the temperature shifted because of the fact that there was no contrails in the sky, and that these contrails, and it referred to them as the artificial clouds created by jet planes, that these contrails had been cooling the Earth. The difference was a couple of degrees. I don't know how the fuck they can tell whether or not that couple of degrees variance is just natural, because things vary all the time as far as temperature. But in this article, they were trying to attribute it to the fact that there was no contrails in the sky, which is fascinating.
That's crazy. I mean, to me, there's no causal connection to the heavy metals, corrosive metals found in the water than it is to spraying. I mean, we have no connection at all, and that's like the only evidence people can keep showing me is they're just like, look at barium and aluminum is found in the water, and I'm like, dude, we're fucking polluting the whole Earth. I mean, water is cyclical. Like, I don't.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. What we worry about is weird because the chemtrails. If the government really was spraying something, that is something we should worry about. But stop. What are the effects? I don't feel anything. If they are really doing this on a regular basis, is they just cooling the water? What is exactly going on? Now let's stop and look at the shit that we're not paying attention to. We're pumping like raw sewage into the ocean. Like people are just shitting into the ocean. There's like boats that are burning diesel fuel. There's
Cruise
other
ships.
boats with giant nets that are killing every fucking fish within its, whatever stretch they've got these goddamn killer nets set up for. Just sucking fish out of it, throwing plastic in there. There's a gigantic
the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. There's one in the Great Lakes too. There's one in every body of fucking water, dude.
It's so
I saw this
crazy.
TED talk from this woman talking about plastic, and she was saying 20 years ago this research team went out fucking hundreds of miles away from the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, and the fish that they were fishing full of plastic particles, and also this guy went down to the bottom of the ocean where they were, and it was covered in plastic bags. And this was 20 years ago. Can you imagine how it is now? I mean, this is the shit that we should be concerned about.
Exactly. It's so this St. Louis story for the chemtrail folks. Here's one in your corner. This is real. Okay, this is real. So you are right to distrust any people that could be in a position of power that could possibly profit from doing something that could harm people.
Absolutely.
You're absolutely right to be paranoid
Absolutely.
about that. That's not what I say when I talk about these things. I just think it's really important to be aware of exactly what's happening.
Yeah, it's the same thing with fluoride. I think fluoride is horrible and it shouldn't be in drinking water, but the thing is it's been kind of hijacked into this conspiracy theory that says like it's this mass mind control thing and trying to give everyone brain damage, and Hitler used it on the Jews and stuff. First of all, that's not true. There's no evidence to back that up. But also it's like, no, it's just a phosphate mineral byproduct that we're just pouring in the water supplies. Like that's what we should be concerned about, that there's a waste product being sold to municipalities and just fucking toxifying our water.
But isn't the idea that people who use fluoridated, what is it? Fluoridated? Fluoridated. That doesn't sound right. Fluoridated sounds wrong. Fluoridated water have better teeth, like that they have better dental health.
The ADA did an extensive study about a decade ago that showed that it was just better hygiene overall. That just showed that people just had better hygiene overall. And really, there's no difference between fluoridated and non-fluoridated areas.
Whoa, really?
So really, just topically applying fluoride, yes, that is, that helps with tooth decay. But ingesting it, we're already getting it when we shower, when we cook. Like, why are we drinking it too? It just doesn't. When
so
you
the
look
idea
back at
was
the history,
the idea was that the water having fluoride in it would help with tooth decay, as well as, does it do anything else?
No.
Does it kill anything off?
and that's the thing. It's not even fluoride. It's this thing called hexafluorosilicic acid, and it's just a fucking fertilizer byproduct that they've just like. It's just this old school collusion between the fertilizer industry and the water industry, and it's just based on like a huge propaganda campaign that's saying that fluoride's good for your teeth, and we just kind of still believe it. It's bizarre. There's so many other countries in the world that do not do that at all.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
Have you ever had like real spring water, like right from like a Colorado well?
I just had distilled water for the first time. It tastes like fucking snow.
You got to be careful with
crazy.
distilled
What is the
water.
deal?
It doesn't have any minerals in it.
Because it leaches them?
Humidifiers.
It leaches them?
That's for humidifiers. Yeah, there's a process. This process, I don't know. I shouldn't say it takes out all the minerals, but I think it takes out most
It's
of
like
them.
magnetized.
Yeah,
or something?
my friend Aubrey actually had a problem because he was drinking it on a regular basis. He wasn't aware of the consequences of not having enough minerals. And he started getting like, his heart was beating too fast. He was kind of freaking out. Like he had an electrolyte imbalance. And it was because he was drinking distilled water all the time. Like you have to have, like people think that like salt is bad for you. Salt is essential. Look, if you eat a pound of it, you're dead. Okay, but salt is it's a huge part of what it is to be a human being. You need it. That's why they used to go to war for that shit.
Yeah.
They used to have salt wars. Like when people kill people for all their
Isn't that
salt.
fucking crazy? My friend swears on distilled water. He drinks it every day, and
He
he's
should
been
be
doing it
careful.
for like 6 months.
Well,
He says it's great.
The idea is if you take it with like some Himalayan salt, something that has a lot of minerals in
Yeah.
it, or as long as he supplements with minerals, maybe he'll be okay.
Mm-hmm.
But Aubrey he went to a doctor, and the doctor told him, like, you have an imbalance
fuck
here,
are you
son.
doing?
What are
Why
you
are you
doing?
drinking-
Why are you drinking
The water that you put in irons.
Yeah, are you a humidifier? Humidifier is a funny word. Yeah, that's you got to be careful.
But yeah, the fluoride thing is just one of those things that no one will even address. They're like, oh, what do you think? Fluoride's bad too? You're like, well,
No, you just
it's
should
just
really.
been-
You're right. Even if it's good,
I just don't want to be mass medicated against my will. Like, why do we need this in our water?
right? And it's also, I'm sure it probably does some weird shit to your skin too. Hot water with fluoride in it.
Well, when you get an excess of fluoride, it gives you fluorosis, which eats away the enamel of your teeth, so you see the yellow
What?
fucking like Because
So it's the opposite.
Yeah, it actually, and then so think about what that's doing to your bones if you get an excess of fluoride.
Oh, I never thought of that. So, okay, is this hippie bullshit?
No, dude.
No, you
Swear
sure?
to fucking God.
That's really funny, though, the way you said that. No, dude. That's exactly what someone who's telling hippie bullshit says.
No, bro.
Come on, cuz.
Come on.
Jerry
Yo,
told me.
dude, I read that
Yo,
shit on
dude,
Glenn Beck's website.
I swear I saw on the internet.
It's legit as fuck, son. They're coming for us. They're fluoridated in our water. I heard Abby Martin talk mad knowledge about that on RT.
Ton of research on it. Dude,
Lots
I
of
swear.
research, dog.
Lots of research, dog.
Government. Is it one of those things where like someone just started getting paid for bringing fluoride, and
Yeah.
then the fluoride is just a part of life now?
Yeah, the aluminum industry needed to get rid of their byproducts. They launched this propaganda campaign. This was like in the 50s, and it was just this old school thing that we didn't really understand that we can just have better hygiene by brushing our teeth now. It was like, yeah,
Right.
people did have fucked up teeth.
How do they purify water? Like if they use, what do they use? They use chlorine or something like that? What chemicals do they use to
Okay, so
purify it?
from the phosphate mining, so they take it and they just like they capture the water that's escaping in these giant scrubbers, and then they just sell it. Like, I don't fucking know what they do to purify it. I hope to God that they're doing something to purify it. But
No,
it's
I
just-
mean, I'm sorry. I should rephrase. What I meant was if you, like, say if you get water out of the faucet, like
Yeah.
you go to this faucet right now, you get a glass of water. They're doing something to that water, right? What do they do? Is it
Chlorine.
purification? Chlorine?
Chlorine.
Well, we should ask, right? We should, like, Google this real
yeah.
quick.
Well, what's crazy is I just had this interesting thing with Nestle where they sent us like this lawsuit threat. Like, they're basically threatening to sue us because I criticized their monopolization over the water supply and how they're trying to privatize water.
Who's trying to do this? Nestle? Is that what it is?
Nestle, yeah.
I read that. I didn't even
Yeah.
want to, like, actually read the quote because somebody sent it to me in Twitter, and I looked at it and I was like, I don't even want to read that.
That's just so
like
insane.
someone, I
But
just
what-
want to be bummed out by this
It's
dude.
crazy, dude. The ex-CEO Peter Brabeck, he's still like I don't know, he's still highly influential at the company, but he came out and said, it's a food stuff like any other. It should be applied to market price. We should basically just privatize all the water in the world. And he
That's
was
so
like, if
crazy.
you think water is a human right, you're an extremist. I was like, that's fucking great. And every single
Wait a minute,
water
did
bottle,
he really say that?
Yeah. This is probably Nestle. No, this isn't Nestle. But seriously, every single bottled water I've seen is Nestle. And it's terrifying. It's terrifying what they're doing. They take
That
it
dude
during
needs a hug.
droughts. Yeah, that guy.
He
is
needs a
fucking
hug.
Cracked.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
What a crazy way of looking at the world, son.
Yeah.
That's like, so he wants to treat water like oil, essentially.
he wants to fucking. What's next? Air.
Monopolize it.
I
Yeah.
mean-
Yeah,
Well, we're
air
trying to do that. Wasn't someone trying
Didn't
to...
China actually sell cans of air? Because
Yes.
Wow.
They do in a hotel
think
in
it's real.
Seattle. Remember?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's actually oxygen, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like pick-me-up. Like, people think that, like, you ever go to the oxygen
Mm-hmm.
bar? They have, like, those pick-me-up bars.
Yeah.
They used to have those. I went to one once, didn't do jack shit
Yeah,
for me.
I felt.
Sat
I
there
didn't
with
feel.
tubes in my
anything
nose,
either,
feeling
I was like,
an
wow, I
idiot.
just paid $20 to just like inhale
They say
oxygen.
it gives you heightened awareness. I think just
so can
thinking...
eating a carrot.
I think just thinking that you're doing something that gives you heightened awareness heightens your awareness because you're like cognizant of it. Like, now I'm gonna really focus.
Well, what I
on
love
this
that you
oxygen coming
talk
in.
about so much is the placebo effect, because this is
Yeah.
something that's fucking nuts. The fact that we can heal things with our body and people just dismiss it and they're like, oh, that's just the placebo effect. You're like, that's so fucking crazy. That's way crazier than like having
Yeah.
medicine that
right.
does this. Like, what?
Yeah, you're totally
We should be
right.
cultivating this so much.
Well,
but-
also it really begs the question: what is the state of our body based on? Is it based on confidence and feeling and thoughts and the kind of like ideas that you cultivate, or is it actually based on genetics and disease? Like, how much is which way? When all of a sudden someone can cure something
Mm-hmm.
because they think that I don't know how many instances where that actually takes place. The placebo effect might be gravely exaggerated. I don't know. I don't know how much has actually been done placebo style, but I know that it's big enough that it's occurred enough times where it's documentable. Like, people can like refer to it as an actual situation. There's a placebo effect that actually does happen.
Mm-hmm.
So what's going on there?
I don't know. I think that it needs to be cultivated way more and
Right.
studied way more. Like, it's just funny that it's kind of this weird thing in science. You're like, oh, it's just a placebo. It's like, have you thought about what that means though? Because that's fucking nuts.
It's also it makes you wonder what exactly is really shaping this world. Like, how much of what's shaping this world is thoughts, and how much of it is circumstance, and how much of it is just random occurrences? How much are you steering this thing with your thoughts? When you find out that you can fix something that you didn't think you could fix because someone told you they gave you a pill that fixes it, and then all of a sudden you fix it.
Well, think about what stress does to you. It can totally
it's crazy. It's
debilitate
bad for you.
Yeah.
It
and
also
that's
makes you make shitty decisions. You do rash things. You yell at people that you shouldn't. You're like, it builds up. Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible.
It's terrible.
It's awful.
But it's weird. I saw this documentary about water, and there was like this Japanese scientist who, put different feelings in different bottles of water, a glass of water, and they had
he
different
froze
particles.
it. It's been debunked.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'd have to get a debunker on.
Right.
But then the debunker would get all sorts of hate mail, and they would never want to come back again. That's what happens when you debunk things, man. You see this Mick West, the guy who was the debunker on our show. He runs metabunk.com, so he debunks everything. Anything he finds out what's bullshit about something and debunks it. And he's right a staggering amount of times. And this guy's his timeline is just hate.
Oh, just people
hate on Twitter. People hate when you debunk their shit. Hate. They're so invested in JFK. So invested in everything.
Yeah.
Whether it's Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone or whether it's fucking conspiracy from the grassy knoll, whatever it is. People
so is this guy
invested.
super anti-conspiracy, or does he really take
he's
it like
super
you do, where you're
anti-conspiracy.
like, I will look at everything and really kind of sort through it, or is he just like, I'm going to debunk
He's-
kind of the main points?
He's a debunker. He likes
Yeah.
calling people on conspiracy that are bullshit, even if he's wrong. I mean, I don't know if he's right all the time.
Right. That's
But
just
it's
his
pretty
stance.
obvious
Yeah.
his trend is to debunk things.
Yeah.
But along the way, I gotta say, one of the things that I've learned about this television show is the psychological effect of wanting to believe in something, and the similar attributes that I find in almost everyone who believes in something that can't be proven. There's very, very, very similar attributes. There's a very similar mindset.
But I agree. But when I look at something like 9/11, I know what isn't logical, and it's what they've told us has happened.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't know what happened, but I know what didn't happen. So what about that?
That's
If you just,
another.
like,
That's one that
think-
always comes up.
Yeah.
Whenever someone believes in something that's odd, there's always the "What about Tower 7" discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. That's the discussion. And people in 2013, they're almost like, Jesus Christ, it's 12 years of fucking Tower 7.
Yeah.
Can't do it anymore, buddy. I gotta tap out. No more Tower 7
Right,
talk.
right.
we can't fix that thing. It's gone.
It's
Tower
gone.
7's gone.
Tower 7
Let's concentrate on
fucking
Bigfoot. No, it's there's a reality to the world, right? There's a reality. And then there's a trying to decipher reality from looking at the past, whether the past is 5 minutes ago or whether the past is 2 hours ago. When you're dealing with something monumental like 9/11, you're going to have a lot of noise. There's going to be so much information, good and real and bad and distorted and crazy and sane and logical and cryptic. There's going to be a lot of shit going on. So you look at any catastrophic situation like towers falling and people dying, and you're going to have a lot of craziness. So you're going to have a lot of shit that doesn't jive, and you're going to have a lot of shit that also leans towards a conspiracy. Then it's also the possibility of conspiracy. And that's what people don't like to think. They don't like to think that it's not an either or, and that you don't know. You don't unless you were there.
Conspiracy
Can't be sure.
Why is conspiracy a bad? It's been turned into a pejorative where it just shuts down the debate.
Yes.
You know,
It's amazing, really.
Unfortunate. Yeah, it is. That was actually deliberate effort by the CIA. Like
Was it really?
decades ago, yeah.
They're so badass. I
They
wish they
are.
were nice. I wish I could support the CIA because they're so badass in so many ways. Like that they could figure out how to fucking engineer human consciousness so they
Right.
could just make conspiracy thing dopey. Oh, you got a conspiracy theory? Yeah, what? Like the Gulf of Tonkin? What? Like the Northwoods document?
Right,
like it's
right.
just rattle off a bunch
Yeah,
of real
exactly,
shit. It's
exactly.
really like what about Enron?
Right.
That's a conspiracy. They conspired. People got together. It happens all the time. It's part of what makes people fucking group into little huts. As they get together, they have little tribes. They go, listen. These motherfuckers got gold. They're right over
conspiracies
there.
are
They sleep
fucking-
at night. Let's go get them.
They happen all the time.
Yeah.
I love the CIA, just for the record.
For the record, I don't. I like them individually
want them to
as
come
human
here.
beings. I hope they're nice. But as a group, I'm not willing to trust them unless I meet them. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Remember when they were all
Just like the
dosing each
TSA.
other? MK Ultra shit
Yeah.
in the 50s.
So let me ask you this,
Yeah.
and this is the fucking elephant in the room when it comes
Go.
to journalism, because
Sure.
you're a journalist. You're like an official journalist, right?
Legit.
And you are also not afraid to talk your mind, whatever it is. You speak your mind about various controversial subjects. And then you see this Michael Hastings thing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you go, oh, boy? If you don't know the story, tell people the story.
Okay, so Michael Hastings, an amazing journalist, one of the last real investigative journalists that we have. He'd go on the corporate media and just fucking destroy. Like, he'd just completely make everyone look like idiots.
Well, he was very aggressive, too.
Very aggressive, but he was just like, you could tell he was just exasperated with the mentality that he was surrounded by whenever he'd, like all these Obama apologists and stuff, when he would go and argue. And he was embedded in Afghanistan for a while and actually did a report in the Rolling Stone about Stanley McChrystal, which was the commanding general of the Afghanistan war, that totally exposed his ass. Ended up getting him fired. And when you get a general who's commanding a war fired, you need to look out. Like, you need to fucking watch your back. And so, he got death threats at the time. Months later, his car driving like 100 miles an hour down a fucking residential street in LA, and it just explodes. Why the fuck would you be driving that fast? Nothing about it makes sense. He had just written a letter to his friends and family hours before he died saying, I have to go off the radar. The FBI is investigating me. Watch out. They're going to come talk to you. It doesn't mean that it was the government who killed him. It doesn't mean that it's some giant conspiracy. My view is that you get a commanding general fired and he knows fucking people. He knows security contractors, private firms that can fucking take you out. If you embarrass someone, this shit happens. This is a hit.
I don't know what happened to that guy, but it sure looks like it. If you wanted to look at a movie scene, it's like a perfect movie scene in a James Bond film of a political assassination.
Yep.
And it really is. The door's locked. The steering wheel starts turning towards a tree. You're like, ah!
Are your cars connected?
Accelerator's going. No, I'm out. Shut up, bitch. Why would I explain that on the air?
I think
get an
all
old car.
cars.
Everybody get an old car.
I think really
get
all
a Dodge
new cars
Dart.
can be hacked, too. And that's what it's fucking nuts.
Well, that's what I read afterwards. Some guy who worked for Clinton and for Herbert Walker Bush was describing how it's absolutely possible. I don't know if it was him. Was that him?
Richard Clark, which I thought was strange in itself that this guy would come out and be like, it looks like a car hacking to me. You're like, you're a fucking government insider. It was just strange. I didn't know why he...
I think the people in the old guard probably don't exactly like how shit is just so loosey-goosey with the murders these days. They're like, hey,
tighten that shit up.
We didn't used to fucking kill reporters like this, guys. Jesus.
So fucking security cameras everywhere. Like
Woodward and Bernstein still alive. Well, basically. Did one of them die recently?
I don't know.
Woodward or Bernstein?
But, if you're asking if I'm afraid, no, absolutely not. If they're...
Good for you.
You can't live in fear. That's
I'm
exactly
scared
what
and
they
I know
want.
you. I don't even like being in the room with you for the 3 hours.
Drone comes and fucking goes.
Oh, how scary is that?
Yeah, it's fucking terrifying.
I wrote something down today as a joke, but it was about this fucking meat that they're creating now.
Out of human shit?
No. That's exciting. No, there was a meat that they made synthetic meat. And and I was just yes, and I was just
from a 3D
they
printer?
figured out how to clone cow
printing
meat.
it?
They took some cow meat and without actually increasing the amount of cows in the room, they increased the meat. They just put it in some sort of a test tube. It cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, but they made like a cheeseburger out of this weird meat.
Sign me up.
And I wrote that today's fake meat's tomorrow's fake person, solar powered, programmed by the state, reading minds and writing tickets for bad thoughts. Like, that's really possible, right? Like, one day, we could easily be in a world where we have robot people just wandered around enforcing the rules of a corrupt elite, a bunch of old dudes with fucking just wires coming out of their body, like barely hanging on, just evil, keeping them in the game, waiting for life extension technology. Just hanging in there with robots running around.
We're so close
tickets.
to like actual thought crime. It's not even funny with the NSA just surveillance of everyone, blanket data mining, and then this retroactive prosecution, the ability to retroactively prosecute you. If you fucking say something today, 10 years from now, they can dredge that up and be like, you said this 10 years ago, and wrongfully accuse you of something and pull up all this evidence over the course of your digital life and use it against you. And that's another really scary aspect. It's not even just the chilling effect that quells dissent and makes people not want to speak out as much. It's that, too.
Right.
And that's scary.
Yeah, that's very scary. It's all very scary. We're in such strange times because if someone feels like they have the right to just look at everything you're doing all the time, like, where are we? What are we doing? Like, we're not even America anymore.
No.
It's not America when everyone can just have their email looked at. And did you read the shit that David Seaman put on his page today?
What?
About how they're using it, the DEA is using it now. They're using the information to catch drug dealers. They're using the information to catch people selling weed. I mean, it's not just a national security concern thing. This is information that's being distributed to other people.
So they're bypassing normal like protocol for catching criminals and just fucking.
Well, what's really crazy, yes, you're right. But what's really crazy is that he said that this is what's really weird, is that the NSA is giving your phone records to the DEA, and they're telling the DEA is talking about how to cover it up and to conduct a fake investigation to acquire that information, to back engineer your discovery, and then going back and acquiring enough evidence post knowledge of the crime to, like that they're actually going to create a fake investigation. Well, so that they hide the fact that they got this information from the NSA.
Right.
Like, oh man, that
sounds like a lot of work.
Well, it doesn't just seem like a lot of work. It seems like you're lying.
Right.
Like there should be some laws in this world, but there also should be some nobility to the people that are enforcing those laws. And one of them is you shouldn't be allowed to lie ever. Okay, lying's not good. Stop doing that. So if you're not lying, how much of this actually happens? Well, none, because people go, wait a minute. The DEA gets the fucking records too?
Right.
Okay, where do you draw the line? What if someone's giving a friend a bottle of Xanax because their prescription ran out?
And it's all able to be hacked. So where the line really isn't drawn anywhere when you have foreign governments or entities that could hack into this shit and then use it. I mean, who knows?
It's going to be out there. Everything's going to be out there.
Well, they're
just slowly trying to stop it.
They're still lying. They're like, oh, no, it's just the metadata. It's just the metadata. And you're like, no, dude, because the storage center in Utah or whatever that you're storing this, like the metadata would only account for like a fucking eighth of that information that's stored in there. And you're already building other ones. So what the hell else is the rest of it? Obviously, it's everything just recorded and stored. Obviously. It's
amazing that anybody would think that's a good idea.
Right.
It's really amazing that anyone would say, yeah, this is what people are going to go for this. This is a good. Then they're not going to feel like they're imprisoned at all. No, it's not a prison stay. It's just we want to make sure that everybody listens.
Yeah.
Can't have that kind of power. Crazy fucks. Can't.
Well, look what the FBI is doing with the entrapment cases. I mean, all these like thwarted terrorist attacks in the last decade are all mostly manufactured by the FBI.
Really?
It's amazing. Oh, yeah.
Oh, there's that one that was really hilarious in Dallas where they got this guy who was like challenged. He's like not a very bright, not a bright guy. They talked him into it, gave him the bomb, okay, and told him how to detonate it. He tries to detonate it, and they come in and arrest him for a bomb that wasn't even real. Like, you guys are playing make-believe. Like, you're playing make-believe and just jacking morons. Which, I guess it's better that they take him off the street than some real Al-Qaeda dude.
And spend hundreds of thousands of taxpayer dollars, like, coercing some mentally unstable person to fucking try to
You got to find those people. That's what you got to do. I'm more for that than for the TSA. I like that. I like what you're doing. You're finding idiots and going and getting them.
And these people sometimes spend like years, and they get paid like 100 G's. These informants, and they just like work.
Hilarious.
You know, they go. There's actually this one case of this guy in a mosque. I think I said this on the last podcast. He actually scared people so much in this mosque. All these Muslims who were like, they actually called the FBI and reported him because he was trying to radicalize them so much. It was like he was the terrorist, and they're like, "What the fuck? This guy is here trying to, rile us up." And then they're like, "Oh yeah, he's working with us."
Jesus fucking Christ. Crazy.
Problem, reaction, solution.
One of the worst cases of undercover cops was, without a doubt, in my opinion, that the people in Florida, where they were Operation D-, where they were sending undercover cops to go in and pose as high school students and try to get get kids to sell them weed.
That was so sad. And some kid actually like fell in love with
the girl.
And he was like 4.0.
Yeah, she was hot. She's 25. She was petite, so she could pass for
scumbag.
So rude. And the craziest thing was, what's that podcast, This American Life?
Yeah.
They did a piece on it, and they actually interviewed her. They spoke to her, and she was like, hey, these people, they should be doing that. They got to watch what they're doing. Like, you found a boy. You found a boy and you were nice to him and you tricked him, and the boy tried to give her the weed for free.
He tried to get her weed because she asked him.
because she asked him,
sad.
and he
didn't
gave
even
it to
smoke.
her.
He didn't even really like smoke
Yeah.
weed.
Oh, he didn't smoke weed at all. He tested negative when they arrested him. But they when they asked her, when she asked him rather to get it, he tried to give it to her for free, and she insisted on giving him money so that she could make the arrest.
Wow.
It's so rude.
Wow.
So mean. Meanwhile, here's my.
Meanwhile, there's
listen,
real crime going on. Jesus
and this is my
Christ.
point. And I want to say this very clearly. Okay, I'm not a male apologist. All right, I believe that on both sides, people should be kind. And I think there's a competition between men and women that is rather unnecessary. Whether it's feminists and masculinists, and a lot of it is unnecessary. But in this situation, it's very strange because if the roles had been reversed, the outrage would have been exponentially greater. If a man was pretending to be a high school student and he was a super slick 25-year-old, been around the block, been driving for years, he's got a fast car maybe, he's got a bunch of poetry books that he reads, and he's so different, he's so mature, that would be so rude. If you found that some 25-year-old pimp cat is banging 17-year-olds and arresting them for getting him weed, could you imagine how much people would be upset?
Yeah, it's insane.
And they would assume that the guy fucked her.
Right,
he fucked her. You know, the girl was fawning over him, and next thing you know, she's getting him weed for free, and he's arresting her.
That's so fucking.
You would never stand for it. Nobody would stand for it. But as long as it's one of those weird things, whereas like as long as it's a boy getting fucked over, even if there was a woman who conned him and lured him in, you are grossly.
Or you don't really hear about like teachers fucking young girl students either. You hear like a lot about women teachers like having affairs with like their high school students and stuff. I never really heard the story of the opposite happening. Maybe.
It happened in my high school.
Really?
Yeah. I don't want to say anymore because he was a good dude, and I knew the girl.
Yeah. Well, did you hear about that entrapment case? This is fucking sad. This guy just liked to gamble. He was an optometrist, like, just had his own career, had, like, mildly gambled, like, $100 bets with his friends. And this FBI agent overheard him at a bar one night talking about waging a bet. And so he befriended him. And then for the next, like, 6 months or a year, just became closer with him and closer with him and kept trying to up the stakes. And basically, at the end of this time frame, he convinced the guy to bet him $2,000 in one day, which in Virginia, that's like running a gambling operation. So he comes in and raids his house with a SWAT team, and the guy gets executed on accident. There's like some trigger-happy cop who just fucking shoots him and kills him. I'm like, so you basically turn this person into a criminal. Not even that I think that's a criminal to spend $2,000 on a bet. Do whatever the fuck you want. But like they shaped this person, and then it's just so sad.
Well, this has happened so many times before. There was a famous Rolling Stone article about a young man that was he was talked into selling this guy some marijuana, and then he sold him some marijuana, and they put together some sort of coke deal. And the FBI agent completely encouraged him, set it all up, or the DEA agent, the undercover guy, set it all up, connected the two guys together, and got this poor guy who didn't want to do anything. Just slowly worked him and coerced him into this situation where he thought he was going to make a lot of money to do this real quick. And meanwhile, there was no drug deal to be made. It was all fake. This guy just completely concocted the whole thing, this fucking DEA asshole. So then this DEA asshole winds up being a complete criminal, gets kicked off the force, okay? Doesn't get prosecuted, just removed and done. But, who knows what he did? He was doing drugs. They know he tested positive for drugs. So he was
in... embed yourself.
Yeah, you have to. If you want to be a part of that world, you got to do coke with them.
Right.
And so this poor fuck is in jail for the rest of his life. This kid is just stuck. And this was a long time ago, the article in Rolling Stone. I don't know if he ever got out. I don't know what the story was, but the kid was doing essentially life in jail. He was a major league cocaine dealer. They put together a major league cocaine deal. Not really, but they did, as far as like he knew. And that's good enough. Sorry, get in the box.
At any point, when you're like getting so close to these people, do you ever think like, wow, this is really fucked up what I'm doing? Like, I don't understand how these people can live with themselves. The ones who are entrapping these people for months and months and months and like befriending them and getting really close to them. And then they realize that they are shaping these people to become who they want them to be. It's a fucked up thing.
It is certainly that. It's a lack of humanity. It's the same thing as a corporation that can pollute a river and kill a bunch of fishermen because it's easier to do that than it is to take shit and put it in these toxic drums and ship it somewhere else. We all know that's happened too. It's like, what allows people to do when you look at the broad spectrum of what people are capable of, like what allows the worst? What allows the most extreme aspects of our personality?
I wish we could have an empathy pill. People could like have a gene that's
it's called
just,
ecstasy.
Yeah, but all the time.
Yeah, well, that's what we need to engineer.
Right,
People on
exactly.
E all the time. Just a really mild dose of E.
Right.
We just want to hug everybody. We would be so much nicer. But it's really interesting because if you stop and think about the idea of engineering consciousness through pills, I mean, that's what everybody's worried about when it comes to antidepressants and Prozac and things that people give kids for ADD. And, people are really concerned about this concept of engineering consciousness and what are the repercussions of doing this and giving people things. But what if they get it right? What if they just fucking nail it and it just everybody becomes cool as shit? Like they give you a pill and then all day you're on like a mild ecstasy, super friendly mode, and it gives you like a 20-30% IQ boost.
It's fast track evolution. Why not?
Is that possible?
I don't know.
It seems like it would be, right?
It would be weird because what if something went horribly wrong?
And it will for the first few generations till we get it right.
We're all fucking guinea pigs. It's pretty insane. This generation's pretty crazy.
Well, no one more so than those people in St. Louis. That is a really hard thing to fucking read. It's a really hard thing to read, to think that actually did happen.
Yeah.
It's just so
happens
weird.
A lot more than we like to think.
It's so weird that people can do things that they can do. And then other people are just cool as shit and normal.
What about like dropping white phosphorus in fucking Iraq? That's against...
What is that? What is white phosphorus?
It's like this incendiary that's supposed to light up the air when you like drop it. When you look at bombing in Baghdad when we invaded, you see like these like plumes of like light coming down, and it basically just... It's such a high concentrated incendiary that it will just cut through skin. Like it'll just slice through your flesh. And so they've been using that. It's it's totally illegal to use during warfare, and Israel does it, and so does this country still. Yeah.
Those depleted uranium
That's
rounds.
awful too. That will never go away.
Ooh.
DU is there forever.
It's that area is like toxic.
Yeah.
For like how long?
Millions of years.
Oh.
Yeah. The shelf life of DU is like millions
And what
of
is
years.
the idea about depleted uranium? Was that it penetrates armor better than anything else?
It's like this radioactive coating on the shell of something, like the shell casing, and I don't know why you would ever use that if it's like so horrifyingly toxic for the environment. Like, do we need that? Like, don't we have like high grade weaponry enough that we don't need to be using DU?
Yeah, what the fuck? Wait, do you think those things are just like, let's see if we could do this? I think we could just shoot right through that thing with a DU. And they're like, God, go for it, man. Let's make bullets out of that shit.
It's just like people watching the nuclear explosions with just like glasses on. They're like, oh, sweet. Like just no concept of anything in the future past 10 years. Like, what is this going to do?
It's just the idea that anybody has the ability to make that call.
Right.
Hey, we're going to shoot these bullets. And they should work a lot better than our regular bullets. But
There's one catch.
They poison the ground for a million years. Whatever.
What'd you say?
Whatever. It's fucking million years. Listen, we're not even getting around. Don't worry about it. It's a million. It's 100.
We gotta
give
get
a shit,
rid of
Bob.
them.
We got a lot of this
We got a
stuff.
shipment of these things.
We have a lot of this stuff. We might as well make bullets out of it. What is depleted uranium? What does it look like?
I don't fucking know.
Let's look that up.
Yeah, look that up.
Depleted uranium. Okay, let's see what the fuck it looks like. I bet it. Do you have to peas?
I do.
Depleted uranium. I bet it looks like. I bet it looks evil.
Why is there a baby photo with no face?
No, it's not. I see a photo of it. Look at that. U-92. That's what it is. You try to find that photo. That's what depleted uranium looks like. And apparently, it's just fucking awesome at killing shit. Just they figured out how to make something that's way better than regular metal. So what it says is it's uranium with a lower content of the fissile, F-I-S-S-I-L-E, fissile, U-235 than natural uranium. And natural uranium is 99.27% U-238, and 0.72%. You don't give a fuck about this. What am I saying this to you people
What
for?
are you
Why am I
doing?
reading this? Because a lot of times when I go to Wikipedia, folks, I've never read about this before, so I'm hoping that they'll sort of boil it down for me within the first paragraph. No such luck today, kids. Just a bunch of numbers that I don't understand. But, yeah. So that depleted uranium shit, that ain't good.
It's also,
Did you see Wolverine?
What?
There's a reason why I'm saying this.
what, outside?
The movie.
No.
Wolverine.
No.
How did she
With
said it
Hugh
with
Jackman?
No. Ugh. Yes, with Hugh Jackman. Who else would be Wolverine? He's been Wolverine for the past decade. Jesus Christ. I think he's the only
I've
Wolverine
missed it.
ever.
Yeah, I've
right?
missed
There's
that.
never been a Wolverine. There's a scene in it from Nagasaki because Wolverine's like
shit.
150 years old or whatever, however he was when they made him. I forget. But the idea is that he's immortal, and in Nagasaki, like he gets involved in the bomb.
Mm-hmm.
But you stop and think about that, like what a strange ability that human beings had, even in 1947, to throw something out of a plane, fly over you, throw something, and just wipe out everything. Just wipe out the whole shebang. Just flatten that motherfucker, kill hundreds of thousands of people, just like that.
But we needed to use it to end the war.
Save lives.
Save lives.
There's Hugh Jackman working out. Look at him, sexy
Nice.
beast.
Where is he?
Look at him. God damn
There he
it.
is. He's getting ready.
It's hard to believe that he likes musicals, too. He's a perfect man.
Yeah, no, I think nuclear technology is batshit crazy. I mean, it can be used for good, but the thing is, we don't have the capacity to harness it properly. Like, look at nuclear energy. We can't store the waste, and the waste doesn't go away for millions of years, too. So we're
Right.
like, where the fuck are we going to put this? Like, yes,
Right.
in theory, it's great, but there's this whole other component that we're just kind of ignoring. And then look what happened in Fukushima when something goes wrong. I didn't realize until Fukushima what nuclear energy actually was. I didn't realize it was just like water boiling in like these giant open air things. I was like,
I'm
what the fuck?
so on the same page.
I was so confused. I
I
was
had
like, this
no
is what we're
idea.
doing? This is ridiculous.
You're making steam? You got a sun that makes steam, and you can't shut it off. Oh, okay.
Oh, makes sense.
Glad you built that.
Thanks.
Good move. There's no way you
Let's
could have
build-
improved upon
Let's
that.
build on some fault lines here in the U.S.
Well, listen. What you don't know, okay? I see where you would come with this as an uneducated person, but I'm going to explain to you. We need that, first of all. It's a major force. It's a reason why coal is down. The use is many percent down. We have the situation eradicated. There's basically no worries. Fukushima was a very old design. We have various fail safes and backup generators, and we don't put shit right next to the ocean like those crazy Japanese.
Except we do. We have like 23 sister reactors all built by GE here in the exact same manner. Some built by fault lines. But
There's
it's
one
okay.
on the way to San Diego. You pass by it.
San Onofre.
You know what
I
that
think they're
is?
shutting that down.
They
yeah.
are,
Oh.
but they said it's going to take like 13
Oh, yeah, it's
years.
gonna be
Now
like-
what? How do
like
you
a
shut
30-year
it down?
process. We're
What
gonna
do
take
you-
all the toxic water and just dump it in the ocean, right? Where
What
all
do
the plastic bags are.
What do you mean shut down? What does that mean? I thought you couldn't shut them down. It seems like, isn't there like a bunch of spots in Nevada where they've just like dug holes and we're like, oh, just put it here.
Yeah, just throw it in.
Do they have signs over those? Or like in a million different languages go, no fucking dig here, right? Don't dig here. For the next million years, this spot sucks, okay? 2012, thanks.
What are we doing?
Yeah, that's a weird thing, the fact that they have these areas where they dig a hole and they just put all their garbage. They're like, listen, I know this is all toxic and shit, whatever. Let's just dig a little hole here, drop it off. Is this your land? Okay, can we just dig holes
Yeah,
here?
can we just pay you like a couple G? Sweet.
Listen, you guys can have prostitution
Right.
and gambling. You
Yeah.
want to do that?
Yeah. Oh, you mean what they've done to Indian reservations? Yeah, that's
Listen-
pretty much what they did. They're just like everyone just go in the most toxic areas with like no ability to like farm or do anything, and we'll just fucking give you gambling. Here, aren't you happy? Here, gamble. Here's some alcohol, cigarettes.
If you think about it that way, that's a weird way of looking at it. But I guess a lot of Native Americans would agree with you on that. They don't live in the best spots. They don't give like the best spots away for reservations. You know, they're like, "Can we have Hawaii?" No, you can't have Hawaii. Nope. Okay. You know, like how many like really good spots where the Indians were? We're like, no, not this one, bitch. I mean, there's a lot of really good spots that Indians
They're
had.
like, where can't we build? Okay, go there.
I want to know. I've read a bunch of different versions of why they were called Indians. Some that make sense and some that don't. But there's no denying that that name The idea that I've read two different versions of the idea that they thought that they were actually in India. I've read that was the case, and then I also read that it was based on a word. I'm trying to remember what it was. Something meaning free man, Indio, or something like that.
The Indigo Children.
It's not a band, Indigo Girls. How were they? Were they
Indigo
good?
Children is like...
We can't play them, but were you a fan, Brian?
I have too much penis for that.
What are you trying to say? That you can't be a man who is well endowed, who enjoys some chick music?
No, I think they're more attracted to that culture.
They're more attracted to that culture?
It's like Cher.
What the fuck are you saying? What's like Cher? Indigo Girls are like Cher?
That
Yeah.
Men are more attracted to that, or women, or lesbians?
Lesbians.
Okay.
Did you guys hear about this boa constrictor that got out of a pet store and climbed through the walls and into this kid's room and killed a
Holy
5-year-old and a
shit.
7-year-old?
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was in Canada, apparently.
Climbed over the walls of someone's house?
No, it was in,
Fence?
like, they had, like, a reptile place downstairs.
Oh,
and this
wow.
fucking thing got out.
It's horrifying.
Yeah.
Look at all these idiots that actually have exotic pets as pets here in this country. Did you know that there's more tigers in captivity in the U.S. than there is in the wild? In the world?
Really?
World.
Yes.
Really?
Louis Theroux did. You know who Louis Theroux is? He's the guy. I don't believe that. No, Louis Theroux, this awesome journalist that works for the BBC, does these. He goes and
I know
lives
who
with
he
crazy
is, yeah.
families. He lives with the Westboro Baptist Church for like a month. He'll go live with like all these assholes who have tigers in cages and baboons and like giant snakes, and he'll just like do this documentary about him. And they don't know that he's actually mocking them because he's like British, and so they don't really understand his humor. That he's like being really sarcastic all the time. It's great.
Well, he's also like super embedded. He'll let them be themselves.
Yeah, exactly. He'll
You know,
be there for like weeks.
Yeah, he does. He's not like arguing with them as much as he's just encouraged them to communicate who they are. You know, which is like a hard way to do it. You're embedded with the Westboro Baptist Church, and like, I gotta kill all these queers and light fires.
He went in
and
the
show up.
sign. They have like a really great sign making factory. He was like in there, and he's like, Nelson Mandela fag. He's like, I don't understand. Like just like the most random signs that had like, and then it had his face on a sign because he goes back to the Westboro Baptist Church, and then they made a sign with him. It just said like Louis Theroux fag lover or something. He was like, why did you make a sign about me?
Our human struggle is just so bizarre. What a bizarre thing to struggle about.
What?
The Westboro
Gay?
Baptist Church is one of the weirdest like branches of humanity because it's almost like we expect them to do something stupid whenever anything happens now, and it becomes like an oddity, like a little sideshow at these things.
And and it's like impossible to not pay attention to them because they're so fucking outlandish. Like the fact that they will just go and fly to picket funerals.
It's a part of the idea struggle, It's a part of the idea struggle, the battle between like advancement and thinking, and there's the monkeys, there's the fucking screaming apes that are still around, throwing shit at each other, holding up abortion signs.
Majority of us.
But it's just a part of that fucking struggle. Have you seen that photo of the mountain goat and the cougar that fell to their deaths?
Oh my god, I want to see it.
Pull that shit up. It's a series of photos. It's a battle. It shows a battle because the mountain lion actually has the hair in his mouth of the goat. They're both dead. They're laying out on a stretch of highway in Colorado where the road was closed. They went to war on a cliff and they both fell to their death. And it's a wild fucking series of photographs.
It's amazing.
Look at this.
Whoa.
Yeah, well, see that thing to the left? That's one of the horns from the mountain goat. Like it lost its horn in the process. And there's a series of photos, Brian. If you scroll down,
it's
like
gross.
it shows that's where the horn came out. See, look, that's where the horn like literally broke off.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Oh,
and that's
my
the mountain
God.
lion. Now look in his mouth. You see the tuft of fur? Look at that. He got that thing in his mouth, and they both went for a ride and landed,
Incredible.
boom, on the ground. Look at this goat. It's like, oh, shit. Boom. Yeah.
All right,
It's fucked. Yeah, no need to look at it. But they show you the...
we already look at it the whole time.
if you just... No need to look at that after you've looked at that. But if you... props to Javier Vargas. He's the guy who sent me that on Twitter. Try to give out Twitter props, yo.
Nice.
But he, the website takes you to like a whole series of photos. It's pretty, It's just, it's not beautiful, but it is beautiful. Like I'm not happy that either one of those animals died. I'm not an asshole, but
They died in a beautiful, crazy way.
Yeah, it's fascinating. It's fascinating. It's like any weird, strange work of art. There's something bizarre about you're capturing this image. Nobody influenced them. It's not like they were forced to do it in a coliseum for our amusement. This is just something that played out in the wild, and they fell off a cliff. And it's like it would have happened whether people existed or not, most likely. It's just a fascinating thing to see that this is how life exists. When you take away language, and you take away cities, and you take away advancement, it's just this wild group of things that are trying to eat each other and survive and keep moving and spread numbers.
How amazing is it that we live in a time where we can see all of the shit, like the Planet Earth series, where you can just see what the fuck bacteria look like in caves in like New Mexico or some shit, like glowworms spinning silk, or like the goats on that mountainside, and that's what reminds me of that. Those goats that survived in like it's like a sheer face of a mountain, and they're hunting and they're fucking running around. Like, how are they even existing up there?
Yeah, it was amazing. I was in Montana, and I watched these mountain goats climb up the side of these bluffs, and they're standing on these like ledges. It's like a chunk like that wide, and they got one hoof here and one hoof there, and it's not like they're like, oh shit. They're like, oh, how do I get up here? And they just keep going. They're like on a ledge.
Yeah, they're just on a sheer fucking face. And then
how gangster was that mountain lion to go, I'm going to take my chances.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, ledge, smedge. I think I grabbed that bitch by the neck and just lock onto him right there.
I remember the guy filming it said he waited like weeks, like 6 weeks to finally catch them hunting or whatever. And it was like this epic chase on this mountainside. And I was like, how are they not just collapsing and falling to their death?
They caught a mountain lion hunting?
No, it wasn't a mountain lion. It was one of those goats. But they were getting chased by a mountain lion or some shit.
Oh, so they filmed that.
Yeah. It was insane.
Yeah, mountain lions are really hard to film. That's one of the reasons why when people hunt mountain lions, and the hunting of mountain lions is very controversial. And on one hand, I see the point of the people that don't want them hunted, like they're this majestic, cool creatures, and it's amazing and everything. But on the other point, like you got to realize, like, if you don't keep their numbers to a manageable level, like the last thing you want is mountain lions like
wild
squirrels.
Lions. There's like lions here.
Yeah. You don't want them like squirrels. You know, you don't want like pigeons just running around grabbing slow people. Like we'll have a real problem. Like you need to figure out how many we need to keep, and there's only one way to do that. You got to kill them because nothing else kills them. They don't have any enemies. They die of old age when they fall from cliffs when they're holding on to goats. Other than that, they're going to be fine.
Did you hear about the pack of wild pit bulls that killed that jogger? What a fucked up way to die.
Yeah, that's not fun.
A horrible way to die.
That seems like
And she was with 2 other people, and like the owner was just like watching it happen. The pit bull just like destroyed this woman, and then they were able to get help, but the girl died, I think. That's terrible.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Animals are fucking no joke.
Right.
We are around them all the time. And we get used to the fact that we, for the most part, have them under control. But just dogs. I have 2 dogs. One of them is a smaller dog, but one of them is pretty big. He's like 140 pounds. And I was thinking, if he just decided, like, I just want to see what you taste like. You know, if a dog really wanted to do that, we were pretty sure they're not going to. But if they really wanted to, it's not a lot stopping them.
Yeah, it's, you know, they are a creature they're instinctual. Something snaps and they fucking go for it.
Well, it's going to be weird, really weird, if people do create this synthetic sort of artificial meat. If they really do create that and it starts being something that's sold on a regular basis, what are we going to do? Like, are we going to keep grazing cows? Is there going to be a way to justify the fact that you're killing an animal? Or will it get to the point where we just won't let cows mate that often, just keep a few of them around so they don't go extinct, and just eat these fake burgers?
I think people will always want to eat the real animal.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Some will. They won't like to shoot them. Or if they just want authentic.
Yeah.
It'd be like a diamond. Like chicks don't like cubic zirconias.
Would it taste? I just don't know how.
It's like, is this the real deal? Was this forged in the bowels of the earth or no? Yeah, if it tastes better. What if it tastes better? What if like regular meat tastes like shit? Yeah, I'm down
Totally
too.
down.
Yeah, why not?
As long
well, I'll let people try it for about a decade or so before I jump in. You want to be real careful.
Yeah, talk about being guinea pigs, GMOs.
Did you see
Who the
this
hell knows
thing
what that's doing to us?
on? There was an article. It's on my Twitter where these scientists put Mona Lisa, a tiny Mona Lisa. They drew it on a surface 1/3 the width of a human hair. It's incredible. This incredibly precise instrument at the Georgia Institute of Technology. They have printed Mona Lisa on an abstrate surface, 30 microns in width, which is 1/3 of the width of a human hair.
Can you pull it up?
Yeah. It's actually pretty good.
That's amazing.
It's amazing.
What date is it?
What date? It's on sciencespacerobots.com, and it should be there today. If you just look for scientists paint Mona Lisa on surface, just that, I'm sure will pull up the article. But that's it. That's a Mona Lisa they paid. They made that on something 1/3 the size of a human hair. It's pretty fucking good too. Like, it's hard, man.
The hell?
I don't know. Wrap your head around that.
I can't.
It's hard. What
I can't
the fuck?
wrap my head around
So
the fact
hard.
that they just froze light.
Yeah, they did that too, right?
I don't
For
even
how long?
understand.
How
A
long did they
minute.
freeze light?
A minute.
A minute. Does that make sense?
No.
What does that mean? What happens there? If you freeze light and then you go to the speed of light, what happens? The Silver Surfer pop out of your spaceship and come down here to fix the world? What
I just
the
saw this
fuck,
crazy
man?
thing. Dude, pull up this. This is some crazy 3D pen that they can draw like in the air now and make like a. Dude, I don't know. Look
Like
it
an
up.
image?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
How much do you know about? There's pens that apparently record what you write. So if you write something down, say there's a pen, like if I gave you this piece of paper and I had you write things down, what you wrote down would actually show up in a computer.
No way.
Yeah, that technology's been around for a while.
But is it Wi-Fi? How does that work?
That's
or does it
amazing.
have
That
to
is
sync up
amazing.
with a USB?
Yeah, you like sync it up to your computer and it's like
Right.
makes into a document form.
But if you could do it with a sync up, you could probably do it Wi-Fi, right?
I'm
in
sure
this day and
nowadays
age?
that they have it because I saw the first one actually when I worked at Gateway. They used to have them.
So some CIA dudes could probably be able to hook it up for Wi-Fi.
Oh yeah.
Or seems like it, right? That's amazing because somebody told me about this guy that we actually wound up having this guy on our TV show, and he's a psychic. His name is Banachek, and I can't tell you what he does in the show, but he'll tell you that it's all bullshit. He's a mentalist. I shouldn't say he's a psychic. What he does, he debunks a lot of what people think is psychic, but it's just trickstery shit. He's a master in all this trickstery shit. And I was trying to figure out how the fuck he did what he did because it was really kind of trippy. And one of the things that I think might be possible, I've been just running this through my head, is one of those pens that as you write things down, without, like, you could seal it in an envelope and he has access to the information.
It's incredible. Yeah, no,
through
that's a really
pen.
good point.
That is possible today,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, without a doubt, right? It has to be. I bet they could probably do the same thing with like a keystroke thing too. Oh, there it is.
No shit.
2
gig
gigabyte
Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi smart pen. Boom.
179.
Wow, it's only $179. That's
What?
incredible. What is that dude's name from the 007 movies that got all the gadgets? What was his
Dr.
name?
Watson.
No, the guy. That's Sherlock. And
Oh.
who was the guy?
Spectre.
No, who's the guy? The guy who always had the shit. Right? You guys know that there was that one guy. What was his name? The dude who was like, Bond, this is the new umbrella.
Oh, yeah. The dude. Yeah,
Q?
the dude, right.
Was it Q?
I don't know, but yeah.
Was
the
his
dude-
name
the dude
Q?
with the briefcase with all the shit in it, yeah.
Let's see.
Q.
Q.
Look, please look
Bond.
up the 3D pen. I want to see if I actually saw this.
Yes,
or
his
if I'm
name is
lying.
Q. He's a fictional character in the James Bond films and
Q.
novelizations. Q standing for quartermaster. Huh. Yeah, there was a bunch of these dudes that played Q. Yeah.
Is that what you're
Wait,
talking about?
no way.
What is that?
What?
3D pen.
Yeah, look. Wait, go down, see the image?
How it works? So this is the pen that you write something.
You can write something like in air, and it actually just draw like a 3D.
Okay, so he's filling in this thing.
It's like icing.
Wait a minute.
It says
Fast forward,
doodler.
this is not-
And then this is going to just show up in the air? Is that what this is? Is this the wrong video?
No, see, there you go.
Oh,
Oh, wow, that is crazy.
Is
Oh,
that
it's-
ridiculous?
Is how simple it is.
Wait a minute.
Everyone knows how to use a pen. So we
That's
decided
like a pen that makes like,
It's like that-
silly putty comes out of it.
Kind of, yeah. It's like that plastic stuff you used to
insane.
take those little straws and blow the little air bubbles in.
Okay, that's stupid. That guy's an idiot.
accessible
Not really, buddy. Relax, dude.
Look at a little
Don't get
dinosaur.
uptight. Yeah. He's making a strange dinosaur. That's actually pretty cool.
It's cool, but like in a
But what
bedazzled
would you-
kind of way.
Yeah, what would you
A bedazzled kind of way. That's so true.
They just created this substance that water doesn't stick to it, so you can like put it on your shoe and you can just like
Yeah.
pour shit on it. That's crazy.
We showed a video that this guy
nuts.
just ran through a mud puddle. It's fucking
Nothing
nuts.
touches you.
These scientists,
It's nuts.
god damn. And it's all happening so fucking quick. Every day there's some new thing.
If only we had the most smart minds in the world working toward technologies that are good instead of like weapons and I mean think
But
about
we
how many
do
people are just
too.
wasting. Sure.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. But we do as well. It's almost like, do you ever think about the possibility, and this might be total hippie bullshit, but is there a possibility that we need a bunch of dickheads in the world in order to motivate the good people to act? And that's sort of like this struggle is imperative in the human condition, the yin and the yang. That it's almost like there has to be assholes in order for people to push society further, in order for
Yes.
us to really recognize our problems.
I think you're right. I think there's always going to be a balance of good and bad, but I don't think that we need to let the assholes get to the extent where they're actually like fucking up the planet for the rest of us, which is where we're at right now. So if we curb the assholes back to a manageable level,
Yeah, or the assholes fucking things up. This motivates the really smart, nice people to develop some kind of crazy technology that eats plastic. It eats plastic and it creates flowers that grow in your mind and enlighten people. That doesn't make sense.
Plastic needs to eat mushrooms.
Well, they said that fungus is actually the best way of dealing with plastic, that they've found funguses that they can mutate and get them to eat plastic.
really?
Yeah,
'Cause I thought there was no way to destroy plastic.
No, there's been some headway in that. That's one of the ideas
Thank
they're coming
God.
up with. Yeah, it's still scary. It's still scary when you see the various studies about how large the patch is and how much of an area it covers and how much actual material is out there. It's spooky.
Yeah, it's not an island. That's kind of a misnomer. It's actually just a
Yeah.
swirling pool
Yeah, I've called it an island
of
before.
plastic.
It's because I was trying to like figure out. I guess that's not the best way to say it because it really is floating, so it's not really an island. But it's a giant area, man. It's big. It's big. It's like Texas size, right?
Bigger.
Bigger than
I
Texas.
think twice the size of Texas.
Jesus. Have you ever driven through
Jesus.
Texas? Just imagine all that fucked.
I can't.
Drive all the way through Texas, and all that is just fucked
Just
in the middle of the
trash.
ocean. I don't know if they're going to be able to fix that in our lifetime.
No.
But it's going to be really interesting if it gets all the way to Santa Monica. You know, if it just gets all the way to the fucking shores and it washes up on the boardwalk and everybody's like, hey, what the hell?
There it is.
We'll send it to the future or something. That's what will happen. We'll create time travel, and then we'll send all our trash to like 50,000 years from now, and then
We can't even send that stuff though at this point. You're dealing with so much volume. You couldn't really send that. Like if we wanted to like scoop it up and put it in rockets and shoot it, you know how much that would fucking cost?
It's
That would be
also that's
so
why we can't clean it up though,
crazy.
because you can't clean it up. Because
Yeah.
it's so many microparticles of plastic, and all these fish have formed their habitats within the plastic trash swirl. So, so it's like
They have to, right? They had no choice.
Mm-hmm.
It's like animals that were caught
adapting.
in the Congo when the Congo grew out of the grasslands. The rainforest trapped all these animals, like antelopes and like rhinos and shit. They all
Mm-hmm.
got trapped in this rainforest. It just erupted out of nowhere and changed their habitat. These poor fish are dealing with that.
Right.
If we did scoop it up and just launch it into space, that would be when the aliens would land. They would be like the angry neighbors. They'd be like, "Bitch, what the fuck are you doing?"
Like, okay, we've been watching you guys now. This is way too fucking far. All right,
Yeah,
stop.
we were okay with nuclear power, but you're throwing fucking bags of trash over the fence. Stop it, dicks. Fucking, we are the shitty neighbor of space. Is that what we are, Brian?
unless they suck worse than us,
Right.
which is probably going to be
You're right. What if they're like more
More
advanced and
realistic.
more douchey, and we just end up in the sea world of space?
Yep.
They just suck us up and make us do tricks. Maybe that's what we're doing here. Maybe we don't even realize it.
Remember when Stephen Hawking came out and he was like, "By the way, aliens are most definitely out there, and we should not be looking for them because they're most likely wanting to like take over the planet." Everyone was like, "What the fuck?" We're like,
Yeah.
"Stephen Hawking said that." No.
You know what's hilarious? Every one of our scenarios in a film of the aliens coming starts off bad, but ends us with us kicking ass.
Right.
Okay? But when was the last time we went and scooped up some chimps and shit went wrong? You know, when was the last time we went on a monkey search expedition, just started scooping them up with nets and it went terribly wrong. We lost control of the planet. Get the fuck out of here. Like, once they start kicking our ass, like, if they can come here from other planets, we got a real problem. The thing is, are they real?
I just saw War of the Worlds again, and it was fucking terrifying.
The Tom Cruise one?
Yeah.
It's fucking terrifying.
It's just like a whole metaphor about what we're doing to the planet anyway. Just sucking it all up and just spraying our shit back at us. Like,
you could argue that we've always done that, but we've never done it at
to
this level.
Yeah.
Like, there was horrible, horrible pollution in ancient times. Like, people would get sick because they didn't have proper sewage systems, and people would be throwing their shit out the window. And there's a lot of, like, human waste, like whether it's waste byproducts from their body or waste from the food that they have that created rats, and then rats carry diseases. Not created rats, but encouraged them to be in the area. There's always been that sort of a situation. There's always been like this battle.
But we know better now. That's what's
right.
inexcusable.
You're right. It's like what we were talking about earlier.
We know that we don't shit where we eat, but for some reason we still doing it. Like, we know to not do that.
You say that, but we do it anyway.
Right.
People always shit where they eat. People are crazy.
Right.
It's the battle. It's the constant struggle. The yin and the yang, the good and the bad, the sense and the nonsense, all just fucking duking it out to try to get to the end point. That's what was it Orson Welles? Yeah. H.G. Wells said. He said that history is a race between education and catastrophe. I've used that quote way too many times to not know exactly who says it. So if you're going, he's pretending he doesn't know it. No, I legitimately didn't remember. Relax. There's all these conspiracies floating around through the internet.
It's better to burn out than to fade away.
Are you Def Leppard? The fuck are you trying to say? That was called a conversation stopper.
What's
your
favorite kind of porn? What's your go-to porn? Like amateur or
No.
That's what you like. You like that amateur
shit,
just
right?
I
Projecting?
like solo male masturbation, backyard black.
I like Rebecca Linares.
Oh, you have like a specific girl that you like watching?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay. The whole world just put their pants off right now. And they're like, please, Abby, please keep talking.
The best is porn on Vine. That's the best.
Do they do porn on Vine?
Yeah.
Are you allowed to?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
My favorite's, there's a girl named Siri.
Hey, don't ruin her. You might, what if she
she's
gets
already
her
been
account
ruined.
pulled?
Oh, no. It doesn't matter.
It's legal?
Really?
Yeah. There's tons of porn, and it's the best
Wow,
because most
now
girls
I'm
are just
gonna
like
get
they get right to it. Like I might open it up and stick my finger in. Oh, now it's going to loop. I might open it up and stick my
Wow.
finger. Perfect. Boobs, amazing on Vine.
Huh.
Check out Siri Triple X.
Brian's got a lot of free time. So a lot of it
seconds,
was
7.
spent with his pants off.
I've never
Trolling
masturbated
Vine.
to Vine.
Getting all the best porn
So
on Vine.
Duncan Trussell has created this thing called Summon the NSA.
Oh, yeah, he told me about it.
And
It's
he
hilarious.
created a website where you click a button, and in one button, it Google searches all like the terrible shit. Everything, don't do it. Don't do it from here. Don't do it from here. But whatever you're doing, don't do it from here.
Why would I
And
do
they
that?
Google search. Google searches like pressure cookers, backpack,
that
Al
seems like a great
Qaeda,
idea.
and it's all in one button.
Yeah, I just saw this really, really awesome parody about the NSA that said, here's how we're going to beat the NSA. Just talk like a terrorist all the time. Like, it showed, like, this mom calling her kid, and her kid was just like, all right, I'm going to go blow up the school on the way. Like, it's like code name.
We should all start.
That's actually funny. Was it a comedian that came up with that?
Yeah, it's great.
That's really funny. You just overwhelm them. Oh, that's hilarious. Somebody, whatever you do, don't. Well, we're lucky that Ari didn't figure that out on his own. Ari would have rode that shit to the fucking rocks.
What a warped reality that Snowden just got granted asylum by Russia.
Yeah, right. Well, you know what happened? Do you know the whole story behind it? That the United States had somehow or another criticized Russia for silencing political dissent?
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, what? Bitch, what did you just say? Do you know who's at our airport? And they're like, oh, okay, listen. Yeah, Ed, hey, what's up? It's Vladimir. Yeah. Yeah, come stay at my house, dog. Come hang out. They were like, bitch, are you crazy? Did you really say that you're criticizing us for silencing political dissent? Do you fucking know? That's
you know
so
why
silly.
this guy's here?
We have the
at airport?
biggest story of all time when it comes to like a lack of privacy. It's the biggest story of all
It
time.
is, yeah.
It's the fucking somebody pulled the curtain back and we saw the wizard. We saw the wizard. Like that is the biggest story of all time when it comes to privacy. This guy said, "Hey, by the way, I used to work there. I didn't even graduate from high school.
And this is the access that they
and
gave me."
He didn't even graduate from high school.
Right.
And he was like, "Well, but I can read your email. So what's up?"
Yeah. What up now?
And I was just a dude.
And by the way, we're also tapping into China's hospitals. Did you hear about that shit? Like civilian
Yes.
infrastructure in China. It's like, why the hell?
Well, what's
do we need to
fascinating
be
is
tapping that?
yes, why? I don't know. Maybe they have an answer, and even more fascinating that they chose to do this and to try to discredit this guy by going out with the fact that he was a high school dropout.
Right.
Like that this is a shady character. He's a high school dropout.
Why
How
did
the
you
fuck
hire
does
him?
the high school dropout work for you and have access to everybody's email? What the hell are you doing? What are you doing? And it makes you realize, like, oh, these crazy fucks, they thought no one was going to check them.
Right.
They thought no one was going to pay attention. They were just going to keep doing what they've always
Yeah.
been doing. And they can just keep pushing it. And they just didn't realize that they were doing it, like, completely out in the middle of a
Right.
field in the open. They're like, shit.
And I love how the media is all like, "Oh, well, come back here and face the music. You're not a hero until you come back here." It's like, why? So we can sit and be fucking tortured like Bradley Manning was for years before he's even given a kangaroo court and...
Yeah, and you're not saying that. That sounds like an exaggeration. Like, oh,
No, that's
was he
true.
really tortured? No, he was, yeah. And this is one
Solitary
of the things...
confinement's torture.
And naked solitary
Right.
confinement when it was cold.
Right.
Like, they kept him by himself for years, right? Like, how long did they keep him in
Like
solitary?
2 years. But
so
I think it was like
crazy.
3 years before he got a trial. But yeah, he was stripped down naked, forced to be stripped down naked every night and totally dehumanized, no outside contact at all. Very sad.
The whole thing is so strange. It's like if we really were this really kind and noble country that we want to think that we were, we would have this person and we would use this example as an example of how to treat someone who disagrees with you but breaks the law, how to treat them humanely, how to bring this up in discourse with the rest of the people of this country. But instead of like doing something horrific and cruel to them and doing it out in the open and doing it where everybody's aware of it. It's like you're showing your intentions. Your
Right.
intentions aren't to govern the world and make people live in a better place. Your intentions are to enforce your law with an iron fist.
My question is, where's the Apache helicopter pilot who did blow up those AP journalists? I bet he's living large, hanging out.
Oh,
You're-
the
the
guy-
guy who like did the war crime in the video that Bradley Manning exposed. Just like what a fucked up two-tiered justice system.
Well, I don't think that guy's living large, and I think that guy's paying psychologically whether
Sure.
or not he has to go to jail.
I guess I meant more like on the bigger scale, Donald Rumsfeld, the real torturers,
Oh, I see
the
what you're
real like
saying.
actual criminals who implemented all,
Yeah, could you imagine getting high with Donald Rumsfeld?
No, I can't.
Getting Donald Rumsfeld to do bong hits. Just get him super paranoid and freaking out and just start talking about the Iraq war.
Dude, Larry King now works for RT. He interviewed Donald Rumsfeld for like an hour. I was like, damn,
Larry King works for RT now. What did you that's
Fucking weird.
That's fascinating.
it's really fascinating.
Larry King. Why does he work for RT? Was that just like he wanted to keep working? And he just decided after CNN to just go back at it?
I mean, I didn't know he was still doing news. I thought he'd kind of retired and was doing like the
He's a very
online
nice guy.
show.
He's always
yeah.
been a very nice guy to me. I've met him twice. He's really nice, you know?
I think he hosted the third-party debates at RT, and then RT like just offered him a job, I guess.
Huh.
It's really strange.
Well, he's iconic, you know? He's one of those guys that people, even if you don't necessarily want to hear who is being interviewed, people will listen, a certain amount will listen because Larry King's interviewing them.
But
Like,
he doesn't-
all right,
but he
check
doesn't,
out Larry
like-
King.
Yeah, he doesn't have any opinion at all, so he just
No.
asks these. Yeah, that's how he can get access to these people like Donald Rumsfeld. So it's like, do you
It's
want
not scary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's enormous access.
Well,
because
you
he's no
kind of,
threat.
yeah, kind of have to be that guy if you want to talk to the president.
Right.
If you're lucky, you know, you have to have a long history of not getting crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, have you ever been crazy at all? Like, probably Geraldo Rivera doesn't even get to interview Obama. They're like, you might do something goofy just to get attention.
Yeah,
you know? It's like you have to have like a certain level,
Right.
like a Matt Lauer.
You have to
Matt-
prove yourself.
Matt Lauer
Lauer.
is not fucking around.
Right.
He's taking this seriously. God, Katie Couric, she's not doing anything crazy. She's going to ask you questions and be very respectful. You can't be some
I remember
wild...
Geraldo came out in the wake of Michael Hastings' death, and he was like, I'm really sorry for for the loss of everyone for Michael Hastings, but he did get one of the best generals of the Afghanistan war fired and really like fucked up the war. It's like, yeah, that's great taste, dude. Like days after he dies, just like tweeting.
Well, he was showing his ass.
Yeah.
That's what he's doing. He's showing his ass to the New World Order. Look, here's my ass. I'm gonna love you. I
like
love
that
you.
shirtless photo.
Yeah, he's an interesting cat. You know, that's why I brought him up, because I was aware of that tweet. You know, he said one of our best fighting generals. Like, what are you saying?
What does that even mean?
Doesn't mean anything.
That we were losing the war. I mean,
first of all, it has nothing to do with this guy dying.
Right.
So this guy, did he make things up? Like, how did someone? What happened?
Right.
Was this okay? What he did?
Yeah.
Was
Should
it
you
bad
not
what he did?
expose like generals who are doing a bad job? I mean, I don't know.
It becomes a weird thing. It's like, what, you know, does it aid the enemy? That's like the big question. Does it aid the enemy?
That's the big question.
Do you know who Barry Crimmins is?
Mm-mm.
Political comic from Boston, old school guy. He's been around a long time. And he said Bradley Manning was acquitted of aiding the enemy because we're not the enemy. And you're like, oh, snap. And, I mean, that's essentially what, I mean, he definitely violated a bunch of rules, and they're most likely going to jail him. But
the problem is he's still facing over 100 years in prison with all the charges, the 19 charges, and there's like 6 charges of espionage still. But the fact that Obama's actually gone to the level that he has to prosecute whistleblowers and criminalize whistleblowers is so fucking crazy to me. Because he's dredging up this World War I piece of legislation that was used for foreign spies and using it just like willy-nilly. He's like, oh, Espionage Act.
Right.
Like, why? I mean, what did Edward Snowden do other than tell us about an unjust law? Like, yes, he broke the law, but he's exposing something that's illegal and unconstitutional. Like, the government's breaking the law.
Right.
So it's all relative.
Yeah, it gets down to that wartime thing, especially at wartime. You're never supposed to do anything that weakens your government. You know, that was what Geraldo was trying to express. You know, I don't think he realized how people were going to take it, especially after a guy dies.
Right.
You know, the guy was a reporter, okay? It's not like he made things up, okay? The guy was a reporter, and you can't help but remember that you can't say that, man. That's stupid. It doesn't.
I'm sorry for his loss, but... Like,
yeah,
oh,
you
God.
can't, in the same tweet?
Right.
I mean, motherfucker. The guy's life isn't even worth a
Heartless
tweet
asshole.
without reminding people of...
Remember when Geraldo exposed the coordinates, like, during the Iraq War?
Did he?
Yeah. Do you remember that? He, like, gave away coordinates. He's the one who fucking...
How did he do that?
He was, like, fucking reporting from some foxhole.
Did he
like, in Iraq, and they were like, you just fucking... Like, talk about aiding the enemy. He actually did aid the enemy in Iraq.
Oh, my God. I have
Dude,
to find
you have
that.
to look this up. It's amazing.
Geraldo.
Say Geraldo. And then I think that's
What's
when he
the
got
search?
kicked off, like, war covering.
Oh,
Just
really?
look up Geraldo exposing war coordinates.
Oh, my God. Well, he's also the one that interviewed the soldiers that were guarding the poppy fields. Do you know that? Have you ever seen that?
I have not seen him interview them. What was he asking them? What?
It's wonderful. This is what's wonderful about it. Is because he's not like, what the fuck? At all. He's like, well, this is just something that we have to do here in this
Why?
war.
Why do we
You never
have
seen
to
it?
know?
Pull it up.
Dude, why
Pull
do we
it
have
up.
to maintain the poppy field?
Well, it's important because we need heroin.
Right. We need latex for our
In order for these
pharmaceutical
people,
industry.
in order for these people to give us information, we have to let them do what they do. It's rather unfortunate.
Even
but
though the
they're just-
Taliban had eradicated opium crop before we invaded, and now 90% of the world's heroin comes from Afghanistan. Yeah, that has nothing to do with what we're doing.
Is this it? Yes, Fox News
No way.
live from Afghanistan. Here.
Opium fields, and we are tolerating it. We are tolerating the cultivation of the opium because we know that if we were to destroy it now, the population would turn against the Marines, and it would be a real security risk. Let me introduce Lieutenant Colonel Brian
What's
Christmas.
this?
He's the commanding officer of the 3rd Battalion, 6th Marines. Really a wonderful group of Marines here. I know
Wonderful
that
group
you
of
care
Marines.
deeply about this contradiction, the fact that here you have one of the best fighting forces in the world ever mounted.
This is one of the strangest
and in a
interviews
sense,
ever.
You're watching as this opium is being grown. I
They're
know
trying to
it
justify it.
grinds at your gut. How do you deal with it? What are you doing about it?
Well, frankly, this is a part of their culture. So while it might grind in my gut, it's what they do. We provide them security, we're providing them resources, and we're providing them alternatives. And the alternatives are different crops to grow. They're getting the seed and the fertilizer to do it. They can rotate any of their crops that they want. If they want to get rid of their wheat and grow cotton for the winter, they can do that, and we're going to help them do it. So the same.
So whatever, wheat, whatever, crops, cotton, heroin, whatever.
Whatever.
We're gonna help them
That's
out.
their culture. That's
We don't
their
want to ruin their culture.
We don't want want to disrupt their culture. We're bombing the shit out of them, destroying everything else, but we don't want to fuck with the opium.
There's Geraldo, manscaping,
Dude, I swear to
wearing
God,
towels.
look up him exposing the war coordinates.
I can't. It hurts my feelings. Ordinance.
Oh, man. Yeah,
It's
the drug war is so ridiculous when you look at something like that. 'Cause it's like,
Military
we really care
kicks
about
Geraldo out of Iraq, 2003, 10 years ago. Fox News Channel correspondent Geraldo Rivera is being expelled from Iraq for broadcasting details about future U.S. troop movements in the country. Hey, he fucked up. He made a mistake. Handsome bastard, though. Still, even at this age, still rocking that Harry Reams mustache.
Yep.
Hey, he made a mistake. I'm sure he didn't mean to do it. Whatever. Just out there. Heroin, cotton.
But I mean, if we're talking about aiding the enemy, it is a pretty funny thing.
He fucked up. He didn't mean. I don't think he willingly did it. Right? Is that the idea? Is that Bradley Manning willingly did it? Well, Bradley Manning, what he did was start the dialogue, and that's what Julian Assange did too. He started the dialogue, and these guys are all obviously vilified and turned into monsters because they started the dialogue. But look at that. Oh, shit, Geraldo. It's just really fucked up. Here's where it really fucked up. The towel's way too low, dog.
Right,
for
dude.
anybody.
You gotta, yeah.
That's way too low for Justin
You don't want to
Bieber.
show those, like...
Yeah. There's no age when you're allowed to do that. That's not old for... that's too low for Justin Bieber. It's too old for John Mayer. And it's too old for Geraldo. So it covers all bases. It covers, like, young teens or 20s. It covers... 30s and handsome.
And above.
John Mayer's a goddamn stud. He's a walking god. But you can't. I don't want to see your fuck bones. Right? That's what they call them. The kids these days. They call them the fuck bones. The upper musculature of the hips.
I
don't need to see that.
Geraldo's fuck bones.
Yeah, he fucked up. He's crazy.
Weird.
He's crazy for
weird.
showing us so much. If the guy just had a nice pair of
Bush
boxer
paint
shorts
that?
on.
Did Bush paint that? You heard about
Yeah.
Bush painting, right?
Yeah, he paints a lot of cocks, right?
He paints himself in the bathtub.
He paints himself in the bathtub? Oh, but he does his painting while he's in the bathtub.
No. He painted himself. Like, that's the paintings that he painted, was his sad face looking in the mirror and then, like, his naked body in the bathtub.
No.
Yeah.
Which Bush?
Bush Jr.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Do you imagine the nightmares floating around outside of that guy's mind? He probably didn't even want
He
to
has the luxury
do
to
that
just
job.
paint. Just kicking it, painting.
Yeah,
hanging out.
but hanging around with a bunch of dudes with machine guns, just looking left and right everywhere you go. Did you ever see that video of George Herbert Walker? He went into a restaurant, and this guy just started screaming, "You're a war criminal!
Awesome.
You're a war criminal!" And it's really freaky because no one knows how to deal with it. This guy's obviously willing to get arrested.
Right.
There's all these Secret Service guys, and he's this old man, this old rickety man, and he's
At the
walking
very
into this
least, I
room.
hope these people are hounded for the rest of their lives and tried to be put under citizen's arrest, and they can't travel because they're wanted for war crimes in other countries. They've already been declared, like, under international courts to be a war criminal. I hope that they fucking live and suffer every time they go out in public.
How
because
rude.
fuck these people.
I hope they take mushrooms and apologize.
Look at these.
Yeah, that would be great.
Is this all Bush's drawings?
Yeah, he's got a little
Dude,
puppy
wait,
dog.
did you find the one in the bathtub, though? Because these
Sad.
ones were actually hacked. Someone hacked into his email account or something and found. So he's only released the ones that are dogs.
Hacked,
but he
wink,
does
wink. Hacked,
find the
wink, wink.
bush in the bathtub, dude. It's fucking weird.
Did you read what Jimmy Carter said recently?
Yeah.
That we are no longer a functional democracy?
Yeah. Jimmy Carter's amazing. He's
Whew, that's a
Yeah.
weird one, huh? Look at that. Bush painting a bunch of dogs.
That's
what he does.
bizarre. See, there he is. There he is. Open the.
That's him in the tub. Oh my God.
Wait, do the one with the face. Wait. There's one of his
Yo.
face in the mirror. Go up and click on the left-hand side one. Yeah. Can you enlarge that one?
Oh my God. What the hell?
Look at his face in the mirror. Zoom in,
Oh,
zoom in,
no.
zoom in.
Yeah, you can't click on it.
You can't zoom in?
That's as much as you can zoom.
Oh, man.
That's hilarious.
Well, his face is quite perplexed, looking back at him, like very weird, surrealist,
what
like
do you
off
want
to
from
the
me?
side.
How weird. It's, here's the thing about art, okay? There's one thing if you suck at it, but there's another thing if you're old and you suck at it.
Right.
It becomes really weird. It's like if you're...
It's another thing if you're Bush.
Yeah, if you're a fucking 8-year-old and you're just learning how to paint, that's one thing. But there's something strange, and I don't know why, about someone who's really old that paints that sucks at
Because
it.
you're like, dude, move on. Like you're not good.
You think that's
Try
the
something
drawing
else.
is one of those things that you either have a talent for or you don't? Like singing is clearly
Yeah,
that way.
right.
Singing to me, like I have zero singing talent, so I know that I can't do it. But I see people sing that don't have any lessons at all, and they just have a voice that just can carry a note. Do you think that's the way with drawing too?
No, I think art is different because there's so many different mediums, and I think that we've been conditioned as a society to not approach art and think that we're not artistic and stuff because really imagination and art are what drives like creativity and reinvention. And so like every great inventor has been an artist in a sense because he's imagining something that didn't exist. So if we are stifled and we don't, by the powers that be or whatever, and art and music are the first things cut from public education, and really it's fucking up society because people, when they don't express themselves artistically in any sort of fashion, then that's inhibiting their own like personal growth and catharsis.
Yeah, I think what we were talking about earlier about men needing some sort of competition and sometimes women as well. I think people need a focus. It really helps us to figure things out because we don't have to figure out how to. Look at there's the photo.
Look at his face.
Oh, that's so weird.
How creepy.
It's so weird, even in low resolution. Because we don't have to figure out a way to hunt or fish or defend against enemies. We have this like need to like make progress and make things happen and figure things out, and creating is one great way to do that. It's like sitting down and doing something, figuring out how to write a story, figuring out how to.
Do you think that's why so many people have anxiety now? Because as we've evolved as humans, we needed like huge adrenaline rushes to go hunt or to do things like that and fight and getting these altercations, and now we just have this kind of mundane lives where we go to work and sit in front of a computer and work. So we have like this mild just adrenaline like anxiety all the time.
I totally think that's part of it. I think the people that I know that have the least amount of that are people that engage in a lot of martial arts. Like most of my friends that do jiu-jitsu are like the calmest, easiest going people to be around because they're just constantly doing that. It becomes a part of their everyday life, this sort of like physical struggle, so that they don't need it, they don't look for it in other ways, and their body doesn't look for it. That sort of like constant buzz of anxiety could easily be attributed to not blowing it out of your system, not exercising your system. Sort of like a sexual thing.
Sit all the time.
Yeah, but
Fucking sitting all
sitting's
day.
terrible for you.
Horrible.
Kelly Starrett, one of the guys that I've had on my podcast, he's a strength and conditioning specialist, and he's got a PhD in something super smart. And he was explaining, he's a doctor, and he's explaining how sitting is the new smoking. Like what's terrible for your body, your spine, your back. Like people are like slumped over and, like terrible posture and push all this pressure on your discs. They've even found that people in North Korea are getting disc issues because of phones, because they're looking down all the time.
Whoa.
And so they're getting bulging discs in the back of their neck because of their posture, their constant posture.
Want to hear something crazy? Weed is legal in North Korea.
Wow.
Yeah, I heard that.
Isn't that a mindfuck?
I heard that. I blocked it
It's like
out.
such a weird thing that doesn't jive with everything we know about.
Yeah, but if you smoke it, they eat you. They serve you to their political prisoners.
Maybe that's why they act like the way they are, because it's like
Paralyzed.
they're just everyone's just super stoned.
Completely high. Everyone's out to get them. I'll fucking shoot this rocket at you, bitch. Yeah.
Can I grab another?
Yeah. Did you ever see that Vice special on North Korea?
Yeah.
When they went to North
The
Korea
tour,
with Dennis
like the
Rodman.
fucking, that was so weird. That was so weird.
One of the strangest
Dennis Rodman like
images in
gets
life.
up and he's like, I just wanted to say on behalf of my country. Like, you're like, why is Dennis Rodman speaking on behalf of the country? Sure, go for it.
Well,
it was interesting. It was cool.
If you had to choose 10 people, he'd definitely be there. 10 people to represent the U.S.
I mean, I thought it was cool that he yeah, it was fascinating that like the Harlem Globetrotters would go there and be like, I don't know, it's just bizarre.
Well, he's a big basketball fan. The young guy who's running things he's fairly young.
It looks like he's like 15.
I think he's older than that, but I think he's fairly young. How old is he? Kim Jong-un?
I think like 20. No, he can't. See, that's the thing. I can't tell the age.
Oh, are you being racist? How dare you?
No, it's
Okay,
a
let's find
compliment.
out. Kim Jong-un. Oh my God, he's 29 years old.
Holy shit.
That's so crazy.
He looks a lot younger.
Wow.
But that's still extremely young.
He's 29
Have
years
nuclear
old and
weapons.
he runs the country.
He's got nukes.
That's kind of, that might be one of the craziest things I've ever read. that a 29-year-old would be able to run a country with nuclear bombs. A military dictatorship with nuclear bombs. He's a supreme leader. That's what it says here. Kim Jong-un is a supreme leader, son of Kim Jong-il, the grandson of Kim Il-sung. Whoa.
Yeah.
We live in strange times.
Yeah, but then, you know, I've actually got my horizons have been broadened about North Korea a lot because I've realized that there's a lot of disinformation about why the country is the way it is, and it has a lot to do with the Korean War, which is something we know very little about, and why there's a demilitarized zone, and why really has a lot to do with U.S. policy, kind of forcing them into this fortress-like mentality that they feel like they have to act like they're going to use nuclear bombs, otherwise we're going to fucking take them out. So it's almost like a self-preservation. I mean, I'm not justifying it. I'm just saying, you know, it's kind of these last remaining independent states in the world who aren't completely overtaken by hegemony need to either act like they have nuclear bombs and they're going to use them, or they're going to get fucking taken out. Look at Libya, Iraq, Syria's in the, you know, the crosshairs now.
What do you think? I mean, you're a person who pays way more attention to the political atmosphere than I am. What do you think is going to happen in the next 10, 20 years? If you had a guess, how do you think this is all going to play out?
I think that arrogant empires always fall, and we definitely are living in one. And we need, unless we scale back, unless something happens within the U.S. to try to maintain and preserve this country from collapsing, I think we're going to see some fucked up shit go on in the Middle East. We're driving such instability in the Middle East. If you look back at U.S. policy, you know, we look at the Middle East as like this clash of civilizations, and we're kind of trained to say, oh, these people are barbaric, they're so behind where the Western world is, but really ignoring the fact that the U.S. has been propping up military dictatorships and Mubarak and sponsoring his, you know, militarism for the last 50 years. And then also in Afghanistan, we're the ones who radicalized Islam there and propped up bin Laden. And I mean, where would those countries be if it weren't for us kind of suppressing that growth and evolution in those cultures? And it's really turned them more Islamic and more like radical in that right. So I think that we've really cultivated this schism in the region that's created a lot of this instability. And like, look at Iraq. It's a fucking civil war. Why? Because we fucked up the country. We fucked that shit up for 10 years. And we just bounced. And we're like, whatever. Iraq's just fucked. And then it's on the border of Syria. And Syria's doing the same thing. I mean, it's a mess. And it's a shame. I hope that it doesn't... I see it going into a full-on civil war there in Iraq and Syria, and it just depends on what the U.S. is going to do, because the U.S. paves the way in terms of world policy. So I don't think Obama wants to get involved in Syria. I think he's trying to do everything he can to not, but I think there's a lot of pressure from a lot of people to get in there.
Ugh.
But that's going to be fucking
messy. The idea
messy.
of more wars?
More wars, dude.
Fucking God.
More wars.
You know, we had Dan Carlin on from Hardcore History. You ever listen to that podcast?
I have heard about it.
Fucking amazing. One of his most badass podcasts is about the Mongols. And he told a story about how the Mongols invaded Iraq in the 1200s. And essentially, it never recovered. They killed everybody, threw all their work into the ocean or into the river. The river was black with ink and red with blood, and like they just slaughtered the town. And they said that this was in the 1200s, and he was talking about how scholars have argued that today, like even in 2013, it's never really recovered. Sort of recovered a little bit, but it was always like, it was at one point in time, it was one of the highest levels of culture and intellect in the world. Like the Islamic world had many scientists, many scholars, many poets, and all these different really intelligent and well-respected people as far as the intellectuals of the day. They killed all of them. They threw all their work into the river. They literally wiped out the town, and all that they had learned and all that they had accumulated, the Mongols just destroyed it all. Yeah. And then we came along, 2000 whatever, and one more time, just jacked it to the ground again.
Cradle of civilization. I mean, Iran.
At one point, yeah.
3,000-year-old Persian Empire. I mean, it's facing extinction. I mean, we can decide whether or not we're going to completely fuck up that region of the world. But yeah, I mean, Iraq, and then the looting of all these ancient libraries and like museums there. I mean, all these ancient artifacts. And then look at Lebanon, another birthplace of civilization. We just like Israel just bombed the shit out of it and just fucking destroyed it. I mean, it's just unbelievable. We should be protecting these sites, but I guess we're a little bit too short-sighted to give a shit.
Well, it's it's just I think it's a really strange time as far as our ability to influence events and to change the world, and our ability to physically impact the world, and our ability to have evolved to the point where we know that that's not a good idea. It's almost like our ability to create movement and to create events is far greater than our ability to recognize the impact of these events.
What do you think this is all about? Do you think that it's just a machine that's kind of operating almost on its own in terms of perpetual warfare and the military-industrial complex not being able to be scaled down, and just like the enormous growth and, you know, need to just attain more and more power? And what is that? Well,
it seems like that kind of a thing is a trend for human beings, that when they get into a position of power, they try to keep pushing it. They don't scale back. They never get comfortable with their salary. They always want advances. They always want bonuses. They always want more money, and every year they want to raise. And we want to continue to move forward and forward. And we see that happen where people cut corners, or in positions with extreme power, they can manipulate the actual laws themselves in order to allow them to do things that maybe most people wouldn't agree to. But it's sort of the same, in my opinion at least, the same sort of process or the same sort of pattern that exists throughout the human race. When people get into a position of power, they tend to push it. That's just what we do. When a guy becomes the sheriff in a town and he's got corrupt tendencies, he starts to control the town. And when, it's just...
Yeah. It's just like when the technology exists, it will be abused by people.
Almost until the opening of the big mind. And I think if there's anything that's going to save people, it's the opening of the big mind. And what I believe the opening of the big mind is that we're going to eventually come to a point in the very near future, 20, 30, whatever years, I don't want to guess, but where we share consciousness. Not just be able to email each other, but literally I can get inside of Abby Martin's head. I can understand, you can get inside of my head, you can get inside of his head, and then you're going to kill yourself. Once you get into his head, you're going to go, this is... I didn't even know there's people like this out there. Just fucking,
titty videos on the loop.
Just plungers and all sorts of shit you didn't even think could fit in your ass. And it's just... The point being is that I think that if there's any trend that seems to me to be inevitable, there's two. And one is that things are going to progress. There's going to be a faster laptop next year. The cars are going to get more gas mileage and go 0 to 60 quicker, and your phone's going to be lighter and stronger, and it just keeps kind of...
Do you think there's a problem with that planned obsolescence, though, that we have this system that knows 20 years down the road the model that they're going to release in 20 years, but they're releasing these antiquated models year after year so you can just buy the newest version of them?
I don't know how much of that is real, because I think that in an environment as competitive as the one we experience today, I think eventually the cream rises to the top, and the competition is so strong. Like, let's put the smartphone market for an example. To develop a smartphone, get it approved by the FTC, then release it, I'm not sure who's holding back shit. I don't know if they really are. I don't know if it's a simple matter of you have to get things approved, or this is just what they can do on a mass level now. And if you say if it's a Samsung Galaxy S4 or some shit like that, one of the newest Android phones, I'm pretty sure that's about as good as they can do right now. I don't think they're really holding anything back. But they also know that 6 months from now, that's going to be dog shit. Because there's going to be an Help Me Obi-Wan phone that you press a button and it makes a Princess Leia hologram. I mean, that's going to happen. There's this dude from there's a place in I think it's Marina Del Rey. It's called Just Cause. It's a motion capture thing. There's this dude named Ruben who took us and showed us how to use this motion capture shit. And one of the things that they showed was that they can take you put on a suit, and they put, instead of you being Abby Martin, you're a giant dinosaur, or you're a spaceman, or you're a Wolverine. They can just make you whatever you want inside this game.
No way.
Yeah, without a doubt. So there's going to be a phone within our lifetime. They're going to be able to press a button, and you're going to be able to appear in a Princess Leia outfit, and you're going to be able to say, "Help me, Obi-Wan, you're my only hope."
That's
you mean you could literally be a 3D hologram?
Right. Oh yeah, we are definitely going to have virtual
100%.
reality merged with reality. But wait, when you're
so I don't
talking
think
about
there's planned
sharing
obsolescence.
Well, let's get back to the sharing of consciousness thing, because I don't understand how that would work. Because how could you really isolate?
I don't either.
Consciousness.
So we're fucked. I don't think it's isolating consciousness. I think it's accessing. I think it's the ability to access information and the ability to access thoughts. I think one of the first steps, and this is completely hypothetical, folks, people are screaming on science forums, "This is not possible, you fucking idiot meathead." You're right. We're just talking shit here, okay? Relax. But I think one of the things that's probably going to happen is they're going to be able to record memories. They're going to be able to put a hard drive in your mind somewhere in your system that can record your memories more accurately than your own memory can. And that will act as our new memory. It's sort of how like you can't really remember that many phone numbers anymore because they're all stored in your cell phone. I know like 4 or 5 numbers and that's it. Once those are done, they're out of my system. But I think that we're eventually going to be able to get a version of your memory that's going to be an artificial recording that's in like an HD. That's absolutely perfect.
No, then that's incredible. But they already are doing studies where they have like analogs and cataloging dream sequences and almost like deciphering different shapes of what people are dreaming. It's really rough right now, but the technology's there and it's definitely developing. So that's gonna fucking revolutionize shit right there. Having your dreams be able to be recorded.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
There was a woman, I think, I'm trying to convict it on her memory. There was a woman, it was in another country. Okay, there was a woman who was accused of a crime, and they called her into court and tried this test on her. God, it was fucking FTM, I forget what it's called. They figured out how to register or to access her memories. And in those memories, they determined that she had a personal knowledge of the crime and that they couldn't prove that she had actually committed the crime. They couldn't prove whether she was a witness, but she said she wasn't even anywhere near it, and they proved that she had a personal knowledge of the crime. Now, how the fuck?
And that was memory-based. It had nothing to do with like...
yes.
Like lie detector technology or anything.
No,
it was actually just straight up.
Somehow or another they're accessing memory.
That's
Let me see. I'm
crazy.
trying to Google the correct things. Yeah, somebody showed it to me the other day. It's really crazy. This I don't have the story in front of me. Next podcast, I'll find it, folks, and I'll get it to you. You fucks.
See if you can find it.
You're like, you do 3-hour podcasts. I don't even know where this is. You fucking asshole. How about you fucking research shit before you talk about it? Somebody showed it to me. I'm assuming it's real. I'm sure you smart cats will send it to me on Twitter.
Did you hear about the cops in Detroit robbing people?
Yes.
To be real cops.
Yes.
Amazing.
There were real cops.
What are we in fucking Gotham City?
Well, Detroit kind of is. Detroit's way scarier than Gotham City. Detroit is. We were just there.
Really?
We filmed the TV show.
Oh, what were
we went to Zug Island. Zug Island is where they make a lot of cars. It's mostly like a steel factory and plant. And when we were there, we saw houses that were like $50. Found one online that was $39. Yeah, $39 for a house. No, regulars are $500. There's a lot of $500 houses there. You just get a house, but you wouldn't want to live there. Like they would have to pay you to live there. It smells horrible, like a sulfury, burning, chemically smell, and it's just in the air all the time. And people were fishing in this polluted river, and my friend was like, "Why are they fishing in that river?" It's like because they need to eat. Like it's really that crazy. 47% illiteracy rate. The highest rate, I believe, of abandoned houses, like the growth of abandoned houses in the nation. Pretty sure I read that too. I might have made that up though.
But yeah, we can't. And I'm not. And let me preempt this by saying I'm not advocating bailing out cities. But it is just funny that the government's like, we can't help you. We're gonna fucking take all the pensions. But at the same time, we're just gonna bail out giant corporations and fuck it, maintain 900 bases around the world and spend trillions of dollars fucking maintaining this empire of bases. But we're just gonna neglect all the cities here. And yes, there was a lot of corruption in Detroit. Yes, there's a lot of externalities that I'm not taking into consideration. It's just an interesting dichotomy of who the fuck does this government really care about.
And again, it brings us full circle to porn. Nobody bailed out porn. Nobody bailed out porn, man.
Comes full circle.
Dude lived in my neighborhood, was a porn guy, lost his fucking house. It's bullshit, man. Nobody cared. You're trying to give up.
Have him move to Detroit.
Yeah.
All the people who lost out in the porn industry.
Yeah, start porn in Detroit. Free taxes. Those people will fuck you for cheap. They're willing to eat radioactive fish. They'll fuck you on the cheap. It's a good move. This is the end of the show. Clearly, we ran out of gas. No I'm going to pee. You guys talk amongst yourselves. Then we'll wrap this up. I'll come back and we'll clean it up tidy.
Let's play that little clip.
Oh yeah. Let's do that. Here we go.
Okay. Joe wants to see it.
Joe wants to see.
Joe
He has
wants to see
snap
it.
one off.
So what do these little lamps do?
They're Himalayan and salt lamps. Supposedly they have some kind of energy that comes off of them, but I don't buy it. I think Joe's just a hippie.
You're a closeted hippie. So they're actually made of salt, or
they're made out of
Oh,
salt.
crazy.
So your artwork you do you also have like a gallery, or do you have any online where you can buy posters
absolutely.
of your stuff?
AbbeyMartin.org. You can check out the gallery there. And I just brought something that I thought you guys would like here. But yeah, I do a lot of like abstract art and political art as well.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Did you go to school for art, or is...
No. I think art school's kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
It kind of conforms you to whatever they think art is or whatever. So art, it just started off as mostly going to the collage section.
Collage,
right there.
Bam.
It started off as just mostly an outlet because political activism was dominating my life, but then it ended up being something that I was able to bridge the two together, and it keeps me sane. I don't get to do it as much as I would like to, but.
And what is this? What is this medium you're using? Is this ink?
That is all paint pen and cutouts of paper. I do nothing on the computer, so that's all just hand drawn ink and collage.
That's really cool.
And paint pen. Thank you.
Now, do you ever do a live gallery, or do you ever have you ever done that, like a showing of your
Oh
work?
yeah, absolutely. I did a lot of art shows in the past, and I did my first political installation. That's a line of riot cops I took a photo of and then just drew over it.
What did I miss?
You missed a lot of shit, dude.
Yeah, you missed out.
Did I miss out?
We're looking at her artwork at abbeymartin.org.
I love when I don't know something about somebody. It turns out they're badass at shit.
Yeah.
That's pretty sweet.
I like finding that shit out too. Looky here.
Badass artist.
Look at her.
What's the video? Cool.
Yeah,
Can you introduce it?
Yes, okay. So this is a little compilation promo that I made of what I think are the best clips of the entire first season of Breaking the Set, which is the show I have on RT America. So this is kind of just a little 2-minute preview of what the fuck the show's about.
Okay.
Check it out.
The media, the candidates, the corporatocracy.
How rude.
I can't wait for this to be over.
Word. New York Times, welcome to the This Administration Has No Credibility Club. Remind me again why it is that people are worshiping kings and queens in the year 2013.
So I have a novel idea. Instead of blaming the whistleblower for trying to evade death by way of the Espionage Act, you actually talk about what the NSA revelations are.
In a constitutional republic democracy, this is not informed consent by those who are governed. This is manufactured consent, and I would actually argue it's coerced consent in secret.
Guys, this is not about safety. It's not about terrorism. This is about chilling dissent and controlling society. Live, die. Isn't he dead already?
You can't conduct these kinds of wars around the world, killing innocent people in the pursuit of a few bad guys, and pretend that it's not going to come back to hurt you.
Did you find the logic flawed now, looking back? Do you regret your vote to invade and occupy a country to find one man?
See, we ought to be critical of highly concentrated forms of power wherever we find it, because that kind of power is usually subject to chronic abuse.
Hello, Abby. I'm Stephanie from Nestle. We saw the video you posted on YouTube criticizing Nestle over water. So here's our response.
Walmart's also been described as an economic Death Star, destroying everything in its path, leaving behind nothing more than a homogeneous wasteland. So the harmless activist is now the criminal, yet actual criminal banksters run free. Well, I'm glad this government has its priorities straight. So, do you shackle down your mind and subscribe to old school paradigms? Or do you liberate yourself by acknowledging reality? Sure, the world would lose its innocence, but wouldn't you rather know the truth?
Powerful Abbey Martin. You're all angry and shit.
I'm all pissed
You're
off,
like
dude.
causing a revolution or something.
I'm just pissed. And you don't see people who are like, I
Pissed
don't know,
on
I'm just,
TV?
yeah.
But RT allows you to be pissed. But I should say that you're very pleasant, you know,
Thank you.
by saying you're angry. You're kind of angry when you're doing these clips. If someone didn't know you and they saw that, they would think like, wow, this is like a really intense chick. But you're very pleasant. You're very normal.
It is funny that you say that, because everyone I've met, they're like, wow, you seem like you're really intense. And I'm like, no, it's just, yeah, I'm pissed off when I'm talking about this shit, but I can also be a normal person who can like have conversations about different things.
Yeah. Ultimately, it all boils down to you can't deny what's going on. And so many people are. And if it's not for people like you that come up and go, hey, quite honestly, what the fuck is happening? If that doesn't happen, and it's a real controversial thing. And I applaud you. I mean, this is going to sound condescending, but I have to say it in this way anyway. I applaud you for doing it even more because you're a woman. Because I know that a lot of men don't want to hear women talk about important issues. Right. There's a weird thing, like especially old schooly type men. Like if you're like, how many dudes in their 50s want to listen to some? How old are you? Like 29 or something like that? Yeah, 29-year-old chick with a fucking smart mouth talking shit about our military or whatever. You know, like they don't want to hear that shit. Like old dudes don't want to hear that at all. So it takes a lot of balls or whatever you have. Your ovaries. It takes a lot of ovaries. It takes a lot of courage to be able to do that. It's a tricky situation when you start talking about shit that other people should have taken care of. It's like, because you're not just saying to old dudes like, hey, dickhead, you know, like, you paying attention to what's going on? Like, this is what the government's doing to you. You're also saying, hey, how did you let this happen? You were the ones that were in trouble. What are you doing there?
Accident.
You were the ones who are in charge of this. Like, you guys allowed this to happen. Like, anybody that's upset at the way the situation is right now, who had anything to do with it, look at yourself.
Yeah,
look at yourself.
Exactly.
Don't get mad at Edward Snowden. You know?
Yeah, and I think, you know, people have told me that I'm, you know, why don't you provide more solutions, or you're like fear-mongering and stuff. I'm like, look, we all need to get this information first before we can even get to what we can do about it. Like, we don't fucking know any of this shit because we've been conditioned into not knowing it. The media is controlled by six corporations that work in concert with the establishment to push their narrative, six corporations that about 120 people sit on the boards of directors of, that also sit on the boards of directors of defense contractors, Monsanto. I mean, this is what's controlling. That's the corporatocracy.
Yeah.
The media is allowed to lie. It's about entertainment. It's not about providing information. So it's a shame that I have to work for Russian government to provide the truth about my own country. And it's a shame that there's no outlet here that will allow me to do that.
It's amazing that this is like, when we think about Russia, when you think about Putin, you think about like, oh, don't piss that fucking guy off. Like those people are crazy. Like those people are gangster as fuck. But we don't think about that when it comes to this country.
Right.
But meanwhile, you know, look at what the fuck is going on. Like, look at this. The Edward Snowden thing is a classic situation. They're offering political asylum to a guy that exposed a worldwide spying program.
Right.
Who else is spying? Is the UK spying? They're spying too, right?
They're spying, yeah. But I mean,
is China spying?
Everyone's spying.
Everyone's spying, right?
But
is that what's going on?
Like spying on fucking like Brazilians. It's like, why the fuck are we spying on Brazilians?
Never
know.
What's
going on?
That ass.
Got to get that ass. Got to get that Brazilian ass.
Could be they found out about churrascarias. You ever eat at Fogo de Chão? You ever eat at one of those places? That's how you're supposed to say it if you're cultured, by the way. You don't say chow. Fogo de Chão, you don't say that. You say chão. Yeah.
But it's funny that the media is acting like, oh, it's a thumb in the eye, it's a middle finger to the U.S. It's like, well, actually, the U.S. set the double standard years ago when we denied repeated extradition requests of actual criminals from Russia. Russia's fucking asked us to extradite multiple criminals, and we said no.
Yeah.
Same with Ecuador. Same with Venezuela.
Yeah, but we didn't want to.
Right. But so why are we acting so shocked when other countries don't do it? Why are we acting so shocked when Russia's like, no, we're not going to extradite this guy?
Isn't it funny that we keep saying we?
Yeah, I need to stop doing that.
I try to too, but it's so easy to do.
I know.
It's so easy to go, we're the ones who...
Right.
That's what pisses people off, though.
I know. They're like, don't call it we. It's like, well, okay.
It's somebody.
Yeah.
This should be a better account of what the fuck we stands for.
Yeah, it's like, I'm sick of just saying, like, the U.S. government, this.
Well, that's that's the real problem with, like, conspiracy theory type talk. The government's trying to... How much of the government? Because the government itself, it's the IRS, the CIA, the FBI, the NSA, a lot of them which don't even like each other.
Yeah. Even though it's not us necessarily doing it, we are sponsoring it with our tax dollars. So it really is we in a general sense.
Sure. In a very general sense.
Very general
But when we
sense.
think of like the responsibility for the actual action itself, and then we say we did this in Afghanistan, we did this in Iraq.
I didn't fucking slaughter any Afghanis or
Iraqis. It gets real tricky when you get into the we. Strange times, Abby Martin. Do you think about that? Like, you're historically, to be a reporter, this is one of the weirdest times ever. It's one of the weirdest times ever to be witnessing sort of society boiling. I guess, though, the statement holds true that every time was the weirdest time for that time.
Right.
But this is the weirdest time ever.
Yeah, I think about that a lot. I think because of the advancement of technology and the fact that we are so interconnected and know about all the horrible shit going on at any given time, does it just seem like it's so much more fucked up now because we have access to all of that? We get like an AP News alert when everything horrible happens. Like, I don't know. Or is there really more like horrible shit going on? I don't know.
Well, we definitely have more. If you hear that, it's not me peeing, folks. Just pouring a little coffee. I think we definitely have more access. There's no question about that. So we're going to hear more stories about things that have happened. But I wish I knew how much of how much of it is affecting the actual things that we do. I don't know about that.
Well, that's the problem. Is all we hear on the corporate media is shit that doesn't affect us. Jodi Arias case, Zimmerman. I mean, in a grand scheme of things, you can argue that yes, the stand your ground laws definitely affect people, but did it warrant that much coverage for weeks and weeks and weeks and every detail of the case? No.
Well, here's a perfect example. Today, think about all the shit that's going on in the world today. I mean, there's giant chunks, Manhattan size, are falling off of fucking Greenland. They're huge chunks of ice, right? We all know about that. We all know about this Bradley Manning thing. We all know about this Edward Snowden thing. We all know about what the fuck is going on with Iran, what's happening with North Korea. We all know about that. But the front page of CNN, I'm fighting for my life. It's A-Rod.
Oh my
because
God.
he's suspended for a year. You know what? He only has $270 million. What will he do if he is forced to take a whole year off for using roids?
I don't feel fucking bad for him.
Stop what you're saying. What are you, a communist? This is front page news for a reason, because this is the most important story in America. A-Rod suspended, but in lineup during appeal. So he's allowed to go into the line. So we can go, how is this going to play out?
How is this going to play out? Let's watch it.
Grand drama.
It's salacious as fuck. You know what's terrified me is Vice is so awesome. And I love that you've been interviewing Shane Smith.
Yeah, he's awesome.
But dude, oh wow.
Great guy
Baldwin's
too.
Taking roids too.
Woo. Wow,
no, but the Venice one where he was like, Venice is underwater. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Like underwater for 100 days out of the year. It's just, that's how much the ocean's rising right now. So it's like the people who are
So how much
arguing,
of Venice is accessible?
They've just built bridges all over. So people just walk on these like platforms all over the city.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
100
what
days out of the
happens?
year, it's totally flooded.
So is it rising? Like how much of a difference is it from before?
It's been progressively rising. And Shane Smith is just like, look, these people who are arguing about is global warming man-made, is climate change man-made, it doesn't fucking matter. It's happening now.
Right.
We don't need to have the argument about fucking
Who did it?
Yeah.
We
it's
did
happening.
a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit's fucked up and bullshit.
Shit's
what are we
fucked
gonna do
up
about it?
and bullshit. That's a quote somewhere in the bottom of a message board now. Abby Martin. Shit's fucked up
That's
and
gonna
bullshit.
be in the bottle, the cork bottle.
Yeah,
Or
that's
in the
a
ocean.
real good point. There was an article about Miami. They were talking about Miami, and within the decade, we'll be underwater. They're like, you can't stop it. Also, because Miami apparently is on like a very porous limestone. It's not hard ground because it's not just at sea level.
Oh, great. It's like a giant sponge.
Yeah.
That's great.
So they were saying that like it's gonna be crazy. Like it's all just gonna be a marsh. Like you're not gonna be able to get to your condo.
I think the problem with the whole argument is people like Al Gore who are actually profiting off the solutions. The carbon credit thing, I think, is bullshit. You can't trade pollution and somehow think that's going to be fucking the answer. So I think, and then when you see things like the meat industry not getting penalized for the fact that they are creating the majority of carbon output. So then
Is it
it's
the
like
meat industry that's doing that?
It's the methane coming from farts.
Cow farts?
Yeah.
So the methane from
Huge.
cow farts are the biggest problem the world has ever known. Is that what
I think it's
essentially
like I think it's a large percentage of carbon emissions, but
Oh
the
my
fact
God.
that we're not even talking about that, it's like the burdens put on the consumer, where we're like, calculate your carbon footprint. I think people are like, what the fuck is
I can
going
solve
on?
this.
Yeah,
We need to put cups over the back of cows' butts, tape those bitches down, and capture all that methane. Just capture it. You know what? Put them in the dome, like that Stephen King book. Put all the cows inside of the dome. Is that one of those cows that has a? Is that? Look at the balls, Jesus Christ! Look at the size of that fucking bull. They could capture it. Why can't they capture it? Can they figure out a way to like dome them cows in and suck all the methane out of the dome? Look, you could put a man in orbit in a space station floating above the planet, and he could fucking Twitter from up there. You telling me you can't dome up a few cows and suck them farts, turn them into resources? Isn't that possible? It seems like it should be possible.
It should be, right?
Yeah, if we can figure out to do satellites, we should be able to figure out how to suck methane out of the air.
Out of cows' asses.
The future, gloomy or rosy? Abby Martin.
I think it depends on your perspective. I hate people who are like, "Oh, I don't look at positive or negative news because
Is that your grandma's impression of your grandma? Oh, I don't look at
I
you.
don't look at news because it makes me sad.
I don't have
or like,
email.
Oh, I'm just really positive. I just like don't. Oh no, that's just too negative. It's like, well, this is fucking reality. So you're gonna intake reality and figure out how you're going to relay your own message of what reality is. Like that's fucking truth. So if you're gonna reject a whole portion of the world because you don't want to fucking be negative, then that didn't really answer your question. I think that it can go either way.
It does. It's you're just sort of hedging your bets.
Yeah.
Yeah. It can go either way, right? Do you have a responsibility in being in a position where people are listening to you to talk about certain things?
I think, yeah. I mean, I think I have the responsibility.
Or is it just natural? Does it just
I've been
come like
passionate about
instinctive?
this I started off as an anti-war activist, and then it just went from there, realizing that all this shit was censored. Why is it censored? And then getting into media. And so I've been passionate about this stuff since I was 17. You know, out in the streets doing activism.
You were in the streets at 17? Mm-hmm. What are you doing out there?
Fucking trying to lobby against us not blowing Iraq up.
When you were 17?
Yeah.
Wow.
How many people listened? They were like, bitch, come on. You're fucking 17. How many people listen to 17-year-olds?
Yeah.
It's an unfortunate aspect.
Well, what's crazy is that there was millions of people in the street saying the same thing, but we were ignored.
When you see like Occupy Wall Street and shit like that, do you think that has a positive effect?
Absolutely. I
think so.
That, yeah, I think that it really got the debate into the 99% versus the 1%, kind of realizing that we all have so many problems. And when people demonized Occupy and saying, "Oh, you guys can't get a consolidated message. What the fuck is this all about?" It's like, well, there's fucking 99 problems. Like and a bitch ain't one. But no, I mean, there's seriously so many problems facing us, and it all stems from the same system. So I don't blame the movement for not galvanizing behind one message. The problem with Occupy is that it was so inclusive that it would be like homeless people would be doing open mics and shit. Like doing it's like mic checks. So it's like, dude, you can't.
Mic check, mic check!
And everyone's like, mic check! And you're like,
I need a cigarette!
I need a cigarette. Oh, no.
Well, there was a cultural aspect to the whole Occupy thing that got a little strange, and that was that mic check thing. Where people would do that, like, in courthouses.
Right.
Mic check! And then people would, like, yell it out. It was very military.
I think there needs to be some sort of leadership, But then again, I think that there needs to be, if we had, like, a true democracy, it would be... and I think... if we had people actually having democratic input, but the thing is we don't have that. We have like one delegate that can go and fucking the electoral college is bullshit. We don't even have like direct representation. So it was a good concept, and I think it's the start of it. You know, it was cracked down brutally by militarized riot police all across the country on a federal level. I saw it firsthand. I was in Oakland living there, and it was a fucking police state, dude. I was like, why are you guys expelling so many resources to shut down a little camp of like 100 people? It was like fucking 1,000 police, full riot gear, like treating it like a riot. Like, I don't understand if you're dressed as a paramilitary troop, I don't understand why you need to be using these crowd control methods if there's no riot. It's like, I don't know, it's just bizarre.
It's the old generation fighting the new generation. It's part of what it always is going to be. There's always going to be a resisting of change and trying to fight back the angry hordes. I mean, it's like very similar.
If you're dressed like a troop, you're going to act like a fucking soldier. You
know what I've described it as?
Treat us like an enemy.
I've described Operation or Occupy Wall Street as being sort of like white blood cells. Like they're going around the infected area. They don't know what the fuck they're going to do, but they're making it inflamed. They're causing attention. Like when you get an infection on your knee and you look down, your knee's swollen. Mm-hmm. That's sort of like white blood cells on Occupy Wall Street. You look down in these areas where these people are camped out and screaming and yelling and doing mic checks all day, and like that's inflammation.
Yeah.
You got an inflammation spot. You got a sore. You got a dirty little sore right there. It's there for a reason. So. Future, Rosie? Can we say Rosie?
Yeah,
possibly.
I think it needs to get worse before it gets better. But I have faith in humanity, and I think that we can pull things around. And I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing if I didn't believe that.
Do you like working for RT?
I do. I have an amazing amount of editorial control over.
Did you ever think that you would say that you'd like working for Russia?
No. It's a pretty fucked up world, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just twisted. It's like I never thought that
left
I'd be
right,
having
right is
to
left.
do that to tell the truth. It's crazy.
Powerful Abby Martin. So you can follow Abby Martin on Twitter. It's just Abby Martin, right?
Abby Martin.
And is there a website for your show?
Just look up Breaking the Set on YouTube. And I also have Media Roots as my media organization on the side, abbymartin.org.
Anything else to say to find people before you bolt?
Yeah, just fucking the truth is enlightening. Don't reject it. Embrace it. And express yourself. And if you're passionate about something, it's your responsibility to express that in whatever medium you choose. But don't reject the truth and don't turn it off because we got to fucking progress.
In other words, get it together, bitches, with much love for all. Spread the love and you shall receive.
Exactly.
We will see you guys later this week with Greg Fitzsimmons will be stopping by, and I got some other shit going on too. I'm gonna try to bring in one of these dudes that are angry at me, the chemtrail dudes, and have them sit down unedited for several hours and let them express themselves because they're so pissed at me.
Can we bring the Bigfoot guy in too at the same time? I mean, why not, right?
We will see you freaks soon. So until then, go shop with Stamps.com. You don't shop, you send shit. Stamps.com, use the code word JRE. Save yourself some cash. And Squarespace.com, use the code Joe and the number 8. 8 stands for August, freaks. That's right, you're slowly dying. Also brought to you by Onnit. That's ONNIT. Use the code name Rogan. Save yourself 10% off of any and all supplements. And I say you're dying, but that might not be true. In fact, this Wednesday, we explore that option. We're talking to Ray Kurzweil. It's all about transhumanism on Joe Rogan Questions Everything, 10 p.m. on Sci-Fi. All right, thank you for all the love and even for criticisms, because it makes me consider whether or not you're correct or if you're just a cunt. Find out everything through life. Keep it together. We'll see you tomorrow or soon. Bye-bye. Big kiss.